Part 34. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 331. The dean's voice was silent, and he looked at the human acupuncture point map in his hand again. Only then did I discover that the outline of the human body was indeed drawn with a marker pen. But the lines are very smooth and the ink is even. The heart, lungs, and other organs are also painted with various paints, very realistic. At a glance, it is a printed photo. The dean's hand trembled uncontrollably, only a pen. Really, the director reversed today's video clip. Look, hey, she just drew like that, and it's done. Dean. Any humming drawing? Can this word be spoken? The dean put down the picture, and after carefully watching today's clip of Group A, he fell silent again. It seems to be a random painting. Director Chin interrupted at this time. Mr. Si has indeed studied art, so her paintings are very realistic. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have thought it was printed. MSSI has studied Chinese medicine. The dean finally calmed down, then her memory is too terrifying. Medical students are also divided into many categories. They do not study Chinese medicine. Even if they are the first in the department, it is impossible to remember all the acupoints clearly. Wei Chenjiun is a good example. This is not very clear, the director said again. By the way, Dean, you don't know that in the operation yesterday, Mr. Cai brought a person in, and the operation went well. The dean looked up. Who is it? It's Miss Si, the director sighed. I was worried that the failure of the operation would ruin her reputation. Dean. Covering his heart, he walked out, staggering. The assistant director and Director Chin looked at each other. A few seconds later, the two of them took out a pill from the medicine bottle and ate it. Old Chin, I thought Miss Si was a theoretical god at best. The assistant director couldn't calm down. How good is she clinically? Clinical refers to direct contact with patients. Nurses who take care of patients are also clinical. Participating in surgery is another concept. Even a layman who doesn't know anything about an emergency surgery that can save Cai Zhonglei's life knows how difficult it is. Doctoral students at Xia University would not dare to easily participate in this level of surgery. Director Chin coughed. His face was calm, and his heart was overjoyed. Come on. He has already started thinking about letting Si fucking participate in his next variety show. The first 3 days of the program group were all simple tasks. These tasks are used to rate interns and star guests to assign lead physicians. On the third day, the lineup of leading doctors and judges was also announced on Weibo. Cai Zhongnian's photo hangs in the C position. Netizens were shocked. Cai Zhongnian is still in the clinic, but it is difficult to get his appointment number. Priceless. The reason why Cai Zhongnian's status in the medical world is so high is because he invented a special medicine. This powerful medicine has saved tens of thousands of lives. The program team is really awesome, not to mention President Gu Huiyan, but also invited academician Cai Zhongnian. This is different after changing the main creative team. The director is awesome. Group A is definitely the first in terms of appearance, needless to say. Si fucking, Ning Ji is also a star, Wei Chenjiun is a grass, and this amateur little brother is a ruffian, and his appearance can also be beaten. What's funny? Job hunting variety shows look at their appearance. This is the medical team. The doctor is so busy that he can't even take care of eating, but he looks good. Stop insulting the industry. To be honest, Si fucking really shouldn't be taking on this variety show, and the show team had better not edit other people's highlights in order to favor her. I hope the show team will pay attention to people with real talents and practical work. The birth of a staff is edited while filming. When the second phase of the art group is filmed, the fourth phase of the medical group will be launched. Netizens are looking forward to it. But the expectations are different. Sci-Fi Black fans and opponent fans naturally hope that as soon as this episode of the variety show is released, Sci-Fi will return to the whole network black. The variety show The Birth of a Staff also contacted other stars as guests at the beginning, but these stars did not pick up. After all, this variety show is not entertainment in nature, and involves a lot of professional knowledge. Medical students should be careful, not to mention those outsiders. Seeing that Cai Zhonian was even invited, I immediately regretted it. Even if you are quietly being a background vase in the show, as long as you study hard and don't pretend, and know Cai Zhonian, do you still worry about seeing a doctor in the future? Sci-Fi's luck was too good. Any big guy can be met by her. At this time, Seata Wei Chenjiun was just taken for a photo by his juniors. In their words, taking a photo with Wei Chenjiun, rounded up, is equivalent to taking a photo with Cai Zhonian. After finally getting rid of the juniors, he was called away by the tutor again. In the office. Chenjiun, I watched you sign up for your variety show. The instructor laughed. I didn't want you to sign up at that time, but now it seems that this decision was the right decision. You must perform well so that Mr. Cai remembers you. I heard Director Lee say that the students he brought have changed groups. Why don't you change? You are very tired of the three areas. Wei Chenjiun was silent for a moment. In the whole group, I'm barely ranked third. The instructor paused. Third. He knows Wei Chenjiun's ability, otherwise he would not regret that Wei Chenjiun went to a variety show at first. With his ability, it is not difficult to get an offer from a tertiary hospital, and he can also get it from a top foreign hospital if he works hard. Wei Chenjiun recounted what happened in the past 3 days. The instructor leaned on the chair and didn't come back to his senses for a long time. All the stars are so fierce now. Wei Chenjiun was expressionless. She should be the only one who is fiercer. You should be glad that Miss Si is a star and won't take your job. The tutor slowly exhaled. I will encourage you in another word. Come on, hold your thighs. Wei Chenjiun. Unlike netizens. When Gu Huiyan saw the name Cai Zhonian, he felt something was wrong. He made a phone call immediately. Cai Zhonian waited early in the morning, and after receiving the call, he went straight to the point. Old Gu, what you say to me is useless. You guessed it right, I went because of that girl, and I have obtained her medical qualification certificate. Of. Gu Huiyan was furious. Fart, I liked it first, you stay here. I won't say anything about other matters. Cai Zhonian sneered. On this matter, I tell you that there is absolutely no possibility of first come first arrival. You don't know this little girl's medical attainments. I have no idea. There are people of her age who have seen better medical skills than her. It's as if I've seen someone with higher artistic attainments than her. Gu Huiyan was so angry. Old man Cai, you are not allowed to rob me. Cai Zhonian was happy. Hey, I'll just grab it, I'll be mad at you. Gu Huiyan was so angry that he was speechless. In the first round, Cai Zhonian won. He hung up the phone and snorted coldly. They're all from the same generation. Who doesn't know the little Jeju in your heart? With his hands behind his back, he walked slowly into the hospital lobby. Someone called him politely from behind him. Cai Zhonian stopped, turned his head, and saw a very young son. Who are you? Elder Cai Yu Yao hesitated. Politely, I heard that you have been to Liberty Continent 2 years ago. I wonder if you have any news about Senior Ghost Hand and Heavenly Doctor. 99% of people who go to Liberty Island end up staying in Liberty Island. People like Cai Zhonian will come back, and they can count on 10 fingers. Cai Zhonian shook his head. No, where can I see the seniors? Yu Yao was a little disappointed. He pursed his lips. Thank you Cai Lao. Aside, Lu Xingheng narrowed his eyes, and glanced at Yu Yao indifferently. He didn't expect that in addition to the 3 major families and the 4 major alliances in the Daxia Empire, There were also children from ordinary families who knew about the existence of ghosts and doctors. Ghost Han Tianyi is a native of Liberty Island. Not only the people in the Daxia Empire and the Western continent are looking for Ta, but also the people in the Free Continent. This time back to Daxia, Lu Xingheng first returned to his homeland, and secondly, he was looking for a ghost doctor. But he didn't hold out much hope. The temperament of the ghost hand and heaven doctor was originally uncertain and moody, and no one knew what this master was thinking all day long. Lu Xingheng knew that his medical skills had reached a bottleneck and needed to seek a breakthrough. Maybe this variety show can help him. Yu Yao just walked away. On the back foot, a nanny car stopped. "Si fucking came down with you." When Lu Xingheng saw her, he waved lazily as a greeting. Yu Ejian narrowed his eyes and said in a voice that only two people could hear, "Little junior sister, he is from the Lu family in Liberty Continent. He has been to the division, and I marked him with the ability of an evolutionary." Si fucking raised his eyebrows and looked at Lu Xingheng again. "The face is not familiar." "Of course you're not familiar with him," Yu Jian said. "He became famous after you died. You must know that his younger brother. He programmed at the age of 5, and was the first in the international entrance examination at the age of 7. He is 15 years old this year." Si Fu nodded. After a few seconds, she slowly said, "Third senior sister, can you please stop using such uncivilized words?" "It's a fact." Yu Jian spread his hands. "His medical skills are very high. Junior sister, you can lie down." Si fucking looked at Lu Xingheng thoughtfully. Her gaze was too straightforward, and Lu Xingheng couldn't help but ignore it. He raised his chin. "Is something wrong?" "It's like this, I have a younger sister, and the object is lost." Si fucking stepped forward, benevolently. "I think you look like her lost object. Do you want to go home with her?" Tsukishima. Lu Xingheng was shocked for the first time. "What? Look, this is my sister." Si fucking took out a photo of Yu Tang, and took it easy. "She's very cute, she's a little angel. You can't bear to cry when she loses her partner, right?" Lu Xingheng subconsciously said, "I can't bear it." Then he reacted. What did he say? That's right. Si fucking was very satisfied. "Are you 24 this year? It's time to start a family and start a business. Your temperamental girlfriend is hard to find, but my sister has a good temper and is soft and easy to push. Would you like to have dinner together tonight?" Hearing this, Lu Xingheng felt that these words seemed quite reasonable. So he nodded. The family has indeed prepared to give him a blind date, and he also escaped because he did not want to have a blind date. Si fucking successfully won the next game. "Senior sister, am I very good?" Yumi looked complicated. "It's a standard wingman." She thought that the younger sister didn't understand the love between men and women. But her little junior sister has a good hand. Or a straight attack. Terrible. "Tang Tang, I've found someone for you." Si fucking called Yu Tang again. "I'll show him to you after the recording." Yu Tang wanted to cry without tears. "Ching ching, don't say it, I don't admit it's me, don't say it anymore." She never talked nonsense like that when she was drunk. Even if she went crazy to find a partner, she was also deducted from pocket money. The video of her going crazy was also passed on to Yukishin by Yu Zion, and was laughed at again. Yu Tang hated. "He is handsome and has high medical skills. The person I like will definitely not be bad." Si fucking's expression was sloppy. "That's it, I'll take someone to Xia University to find you later." The call ended. It was 8:30, and the recording of the fourth day began. Today, the three groups listened to the expert lecture together. Each component to a book. Si fucking quickly flipped through the book and handed it to Ningji. Ningji took it over and took a look, surprised. "Teacher Si." The contents of these books turned out to be what Si fucking told her yesterday. Lu Xingheng glanced at the title of the book and closed his eyes. In Group A, Only Ningxi and Wei Chenjiun took it seriously. Bai Jingxi has been paying attention to the movements of Group A. Seeing that Si fucking is as motionless as a mountain, she has concerns. It seems that teacher Si has already learned what he said today. Bai Jingxi smiled. Is it possible to solve this problem? With so many people watching, teacher Si can't talk about it unless he comes in person. When she spoke, everyone's eyes were focused on Si fucking, including keynote speakers. Wu Weining suppressed the irony at the corner of her mouth. If you don't even read the book, what can you do? These stars only know that Realand sets up hype. She is not a fan of Si fucking, but she won't brag about her and hold her. Si fucking, I found a partner for Tang Tang casually. This is the case, because the author is not omnipotent and has never studied medicine. I consulted my classmates who studied medicine to minimize bugs. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 332. The three people in Group A were quite calm, watching Si fucking stand up. Chen Wengzhen was a little surprised. Si fucking has no medical foundation at all. This topic is about neurosurgery, not basic medical knowledge. Aren't you afraid of her embarrassment? Intracranial aneurysms usually occur at the bifurcation of the basilar artery ring and its main branches. Si fucking was calm, his voice was clear. 85% of aneurysms are located in the internal carotid artery system in the anterior half of the ring of Willis arteries. By the way, do you know the critical size of aneurysm rupture? She suddenly turned her head and looked at Bai Jingxi with a pair of fox eyes. The interns hadn't recovered from her fluent answers, and they looked over with her subconsciously. Under the eyes of the public, Bai Jingxi was stunned for a moment, and a layer of cold sweat broke out on his back. Si fucking felt a little regretful. It seems that I don't know. Then let's listen to the teacher's lecture carefully. Teacher, you can continue. Bai Jingxi squeezed his fingers. She majored in cardiology, and naturally did not know the expertise in neurosurgery. Is Si fucking deliberately embarrassing her? Let her make a fool of herself in front of so many people. Bai Jingxi held his breath. The expert did not pay attention to Bai Jingxi, but looked at Si fucking in surprise. Before this, have you learned knowledge beyond God? Well, I have a strong learning ability. Si fucking didn't hide it. I can't forget half of it. There are gods other than gods in our group. I listened to it. Wei Chenjiun is neurosurgery. Hearing this, the interns of other groups showed a clear look. Knowing the inside story, Lu Xingheng raised his eyebrows with interest. Wei Chenjiun was expressionless. He was clearly pushed out by his thighs as a shield, right? The expert nodded. You must be able to use it without forgetting it. The little girl is modest. You are not only strong in learning, but you really listen to it. It's very good. She was also worried that Si fucking was a star, and she came to participate in this variety show just for fun, but she didn't expect to be no worse than other interns. The expert turned around and pointed at the blackboard. Let's go on to the next question. There will be a written test in a while. The question is not difficult, so don't put too much burden on everyone. Under the stage, Chen Wengzhen slowly exhaled, suppressing his anger. What is she showing off? Unforgettable and proud? Can I go to the operating table? Wu Weining's expression was still ironic. Big stars, they are used to walking on the red carpet, and they are so highly praised by fans, it is inevitable that they will float. It is impossible not to be jealous of Si fucking. Celebrities earn far more than they do, but don't pay as much as they do. Wu Weining didn't need to ask to know that Si fucking's salary must be very high, otherwise Daxiatai would not change the main creative team and keep her. No matter who you are, your heart will inevitably be unbalanced. I'm fine. Bai Jingxi came back to her senses. She pursed her lips and said softly, Mr. Si is still very good, don't misunderstand her. Wu Weining said lightly, Miss Bai, You don't need to explain for her, she clearly asked you on purpose. Bai Jingxi forced a smile. It was also deliberately asked, but only she was stumped. The morning passed quickly. After 3 days of training, even a beginner like Ningxi has mastered some basic theoretical knowledge. The written test papers will be sent to the leading teachers and ranked according to the scores of each group. The group with the highest score also has priority in subsequent tasks. After the experts finished explaining today's theoretical knowledge, they handed out the papers. Sci-fi flipped through the paper, she turned her pen, and began to answer the question. The written test lasted an hour, and Sci-fi spent 20 minutes writing and handing in the paper. As soon as she handed in, Lu Xingheng also stood up and handed in the papers. Bai Jingxu clearly saw that there were several big questions, and Sci-fi was left blank. It's good to pass. She suppressed the sarcasm in her eyes and answered the question. Outside the exam. You also handed in the papers. Sci-fi put his hands in his pockets, just in time. Today's recording is over, I'll take you to see my sister. Lu Xingheng agreed, okay. Xiata here. Yu Tang was a little unlovable. She swore that she would never use anesthesia again in the future. Her ugliness is over. After receiving the news from Sci-fi, Yu Tang dawdled for a while, but went out anyway. Since the news broke that Sci-fi is Gilu, Ding Wanwan has been quiet a lot. She just glanced at Yu Tang, snorted coldly, and went on to do her own thing. Yu Tang quietly came to the second gate of Xiaodadong. At a glance, he saw Sci-fi, who was fully armed. She stepped forward quickly, jumping as she walked, ching ching. Lu Xingheng glanced at it and thought casually. It looked slender and slender. Yu Tang suddenly stopped when she saw Lu Xingheng dressed like the boss of the underworld. After the list of interns was announced on Weibo, Lu Xingheng successfully attracted a large number of passers-by fans with his face. She didn't expect that Sci-fi said that the person he introduced to her was Lu Xingheng. Tang Tang, that's him. Sci-fi introduced, he's tall and handsome, and meets your mate selection requirements. Yu Tang. How could she not know what her mate requirements are? What the hell did she say that day? I asked Sister Sang to book a restaurant and have a meal together later. Sci-fi nodded, young people, communicate more. I heard Lu Xingheng finally bowed his head, he bent slightly, I look like the person you lost. Yu Tang hesitated for a moment, I heard that you were picked up by the show crew on the road. It may have been lost by someone. You must have a bad temper. Otherwise, why would you be lost if you look so good? Lu Xingheng. Self-inflicted sin, not to live. When Lu Xingheng was about to say something, a voice sounded at this moment, clear and light, like broken snow scattered in the air. Tilt. Sci-fi was startled and turned his head. The black car stopped across the road at some point. The door opened, and the man's voice was calm, come here, get in the car. Yu Tang opened her mouth wide, wow. Is her ninth uncle taking an oath of sovereignty? Yu Tang suddenly became excited. Yu Xian glanced over here. Lu Xinggen's expression softened. He frowned and stared at Yu Xian for a few seconds, then his eyes moved down to the man's slender and powerful legs wrapped in suit pants. Before he could take a closer look, he only felt his body go numb for a moment. Lu Xingheng suddenly raised his head. The man's expression was light, his eyes were calm, and there was a slight smile in the depths of his eyes. But the momentum is extremely compelling. Lu Xingheng grew up in the Free State. Not to mention the number one family in the 49 cities, they were ordinary princes and nobles in the Principality of Mistan. Even the core direct descendants of the three major families were not so strong that he had to avoid them. The two stared at each other for a few seconds. Finally, Lu Xingheng looked away first. Then you eat. Sci-fi waved his hand, I won't be a light bulb, I'll eat the food of my family's big gold lord. She ran over and got into the car. The door closed, and the black car drove away. Lu Xingheng was still staring at the place where the car had parked before. Yu Tang looked at him and suddenly realized. She mustered up her courage. You give up, it's useless for you to look at my ninth uncle. Lu Xingheng paused, he suspected that he heard it wrong. What did you say? Anyway, my ninth uncle won't like you. Yu Tang akimbo, look at you, are you beautiful, cute, and smart? Lu Xingheng. He laughed angrily. A few seconds later, he reached out and lifted Yu Tang up. Yu Tang got her feet off the ground and was startled. What are you doing? I warn you that this is Siata, I shouted in the group, and a bunch of sports students came to beat you. I'll call you to the hospital and check your brain. Lu Xingheng smiled half smilingly. You don't have this kind of brain circuit, maybe you have something in your head that others don't have. If I find it, maybe I will can be named Yu Tang. Lu Xingheng just frightened her, and quickly put her down. Let's go. It just so happened that he didn't have money to eat. For the sake of eating a meal for nothing, he decided to stay with Yu Tang for a while and fulfill his duty. Where do you want to go after dinner? Yu Tang was silent. My pocket money has been deducted, so I can only afford to go to an internet cafe. I haven't been to an internet cafe yet. The pocket money was deducted? So pitiful. Lu Xingheng became interested. Okay, internet cafe. After eating at the restaurant Sang Yanking had ordered, the two found the nearest internet cafe and opened a box. Do you play Oracle? Yu Tang geared up. If you play, let's PK. My skills have improved a lot recently. Lu Xingheng looked at the icon of the Oracle flashing on the screen thoughtfully. He knew that Lu Xingkai was taken away to program when he was 7 years old, and Oracle is the work that Lu Xingkai participated in the design of. To make a game popular internationally, the production team of the game is really powerful. I haven't played it before, but you can try it. Lu Xingheng quickly registered an account. You invite me. Yu Tang played swordsman this time. She specially learned swordsman's combo from Sci-fi and was very confident in her game skills. The two entered the PK field. 10 seconds later, Yu Tang died. After 5 games, Yu Tang died within 10 seconds. Yu Tang stayed for 2 seconds and cried angrily, you are too much. Cough. Lu Xingheng coughed lightly, I'm sorry, I'm serious. Yu Tang angrily quit the game. Go away, you are an orphan. No wonder you were thrown away. Facts tell her, esports, there is no love. She wants to throw away the surnamed Lu. The other side. In the car. Yu Zion said, just now. Ah. Oh, the object I picked up for Tang Tang I blinked, you weren't there. She was crying really sad, she must be thinking about it every day. Anyway, she's in college, and she doesn't care. Early love. Yu Zion's eyes darkened a few times, and she smiled, 19 years old, it's time to fall in love. Yeah, and the person I like must be of good character. I said cheerfully, but Tang Tang can choose more, don't worry about this one. Yu Zion lowered her eyelashes and hummed. I is in a good mood. She found a gold brick and fed it to Xiaobai. Xiaobai swallowed it immediately, hesitatingly looked at the nobleman with his eyes closed. After the tail flicked, it stretched out its claws and grabbed Si's clothes, owing a few times. Sifu listened and understood. What is the object? Is it easy to have money? I don't need it. Noob. It didn't give up, and then snorted twice. Si was indifferent. Oh, there are many people who like me. I don't have time to help them piece together their broken hearts. I want to make money. Xiaobai said again. It tried its best. Yu Zion suddenly opened his eyes. His pupils were so bright that it was difficult to distinguish the depths. Si changed his face in a second. Boss, don't worry, as a good employee, you will never fall in love while you are on the job, and serve the boss wholeheartedly. Oh, Yu Zion raised her eyebrows, one-hearted. That's right, Si fucking raised his hand. My feelings for you, boss, can be learned from heaven and earth, and the sun and the moon are proof. Zion closed her eyes again. I remember. Ziobai licked his paws and snorted. The dog owner sold himself without knowing it. After eating, Zion sent Si fucking back to the hotel. She got out of the car and entered through the back garden. This hotel is very confidential, and celebrities will choose to stay here. Ahead, there was a quarrel. Bai Jingxi frowned tightly. Yang, I have persuaded you, are you still so stubborn? Do you really think that you are a top class, so you can fight against the Li family? The Li family made you disappear? Very simple. Su Yang took a deep breath. Can you please not bother me? Ill. Si Fu listened for 2 seconds, his eyes became colder, he stepped forward, and said, Su Yang. Bai Jingxi frowned, displeased. Miss Si, this is a Yang and I's private affairs. You are not her girlfriend, are you? Then I'm sorry, you are not qualified to interfere. Si fucking now looked at Bai Jingxi. Go back. Su Yang was stunned for a moment, then really took 2 steps back. Bai Jingxi was even more unhappy. What do you want to do? As soon as she finished speaking, with a pop, a slap landed on her face, and her head was slapped in the side. Si fucking blew his palms and smiled slowly. I want to do this. See you tomorrow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 333. Bai Jingxi was stunned. She covered her face, her ears were buzzing, and she didn't respond for a long time. Although there are no people here, there is monitoring. As a star and a public figure, Si fucking dared to attack her directly? I know Su Yang's style, but I'm different. Si fucking took out alcohol wipes and wiped his hands. I have a bad temper and can't say anything. I seem to have forgotten to tell you not to bother him, fight him. 12, long memory. The first time she saw Su Yang, he was beaten by gangsters in the alley, and his leg was injured. It took a while. But these little bastards, it was because of Bai Jingxi that they set their sights on Su Yang. Su Yang was bedridden due to illness. From the beginning to the end, Si fucking never saw Bai Jingxi appear. What? There were tears in Bai Jingxi's eyes, and she wanted to cry. That's how you watched her bully me. Snapped. Another slap fell, and her left cheek was also swollen. This force is not light. Bai Jingxi only felt more and more buzzing in his ears, and he couldn't hear the surrounding sounds clearly. Si fucking then wiped his hands. There's so much nonsense. After wiping, she threw the tissue to a trash can in the distance, turned around, and said, let's go. Su Yang followed and left, never looking at Bai Jingxi more from the beginning to the end. Bai Jingxi squeezed his fingers tightly, his fingernails were pinched into the palm of his hand, and the tips of his eyes were red. She couldn't accept Su Yang treating her like this. When she was abroad many years ago, Su Yang would go to Santiago to buy anything she wanted to eat. But now Su Yang can watch her being beaten. She can abandon Su Yang. But Su Yang can't. Bai Jingxi gritted his teeth and wanted to go to the hotel to adjust the video, so that Li Yinshan could vent her anger. But she couldn't explain why she came to look for Su Yang. This breath can only be swallowed. Bai Jingxi's eyes were dark, and after standing for a few seconds, he could only leave unwillingly. She returned to the villa that Li Yinshan bought for her. Although there is still no way to officially enter the Li family, this villa is worth hundreds of millions, and Bai Jingxi is very satisfied. Li Yinshan is coming over for dinner tonight. Bai Jingxi put on makeup in a hurry. But the red mark on his face couldn't be covered. Li Yan saw it as soon as he came down. He frowned and his voice became cold. What's wrong with your face? Bai Jingxi pursed her lips. I'm allergic. Li Yinshan didn't ask any more questions, and just said, girls, protect your face. Without this face, it is useless. Yan Shen, the variety show I participated in, invited a star. Bai Jingxi said intentionally or unintentionally. Will the show team be unfair? Can you help me? Not a medical job seeker? Celebrity. Celebrity guests, please come to raise the popularity. If you don't pay attention to the entertainment industry, you may not know Sci-fi. She is very popular recently. Hearing the name, Li Yan paused for a while, and said in a very light tone, it's not easy to interfere in the program of Daxiatai. Bai Jingxi was a little disappointed, but he didn't dare to show it. Okay, I will try my best. Li Yinshan inherited the temperament of second master Li, and his temperament is uncertain. She has followed him for 3 years, and she still lives carefully. She knew that he liked to see her in a white dress with long hair, which she had been wearing all these years. But Li Yinshan was really kind to her, and he swiped his bank card casually. Su Yang couldn't satisfy her with this kind of material giving. Li Yinshan left the apartment after eating with her. Mr. Li, the secretary, opened the car door. I checked, Miss Sci-fi did participate in the birth of a staff. President Li, Miss Sci-fi is really beautiful. Li Yan lit a cigarette and nodded. Well, I really didn't expect someone to look so beautiful. After all, with Sci-fi's face, even the black fans couldn't scold him. After she boarded the start-up pop-up window of Oracle, the West Continent was also amazed at her appearance. Rare stars who can unify their aesthetics. Then I'll contact the program team. The secretary understood and followed a good manner. President Li is going to visit Miss Bai's class. Li Yinshan lit the ash into the ashtray. Go ahead. The next morning, the staff birth story program group. Interview today. Group C goes first. Is the result in the written test too? Backstage, Director Chin got up. I'll take a look. The title was prepared by the First Hospital of Sijukan, and the program team did not know what the difficulty was. But after observing the expressions of the respondents at the time, he felt that the paper was not simple. Facts have proved that the paper is really difficult. The highest score is only 82. Director Chin took a special look at Sci-fi's papers. 60 points. Got a pass line. Neither good nor bad. This paper. The attending physician paused. It's very interesting. Director Chin groaned in his heart. Teacher, what's the matter? Don't look at these 2 papers, you just passed, the attending physician said, but the questions answered are all on the point, and even after calculating how many points each question can get, this is based on the thinking of the question maker. I figured it out. Director Chin was taken aback. 2 copies. He knew that Sci-fi could do such a thing. Who's the other one? Lu Xingheng. It's impossible to play tricks on me, the attending physician snorted coldly. I want to see how many tricks this little brat surnamed Lu has. Director Chin. Rebellion is a bit serious. Director Chin said tentatively, why do you only scold classmate Lu? The nature of the 2 is different. The attending physician pushed his glasses. As a doctor, you must be rigorous and fear life. He can't have a playful mentality, even if it's just an exam. This little girl is a star and a guest. She is giving other people face, she is very good at life, she knows how to work in the workplace, and has a high emotional intelligence. She is also very popular in your entertainment circle, right? Director Chin nodded. Yes, it's a pleasure to work with her. The attending physician nodded and paused, but she probably didn't expect that she worked so hard to keep the score at 60 and ended up in 4th. The top 3, 2 are returnees postdoctoral fellow, and the other is Wei Chenjian. This time, only 5 people passed the written test. Director Chin. What does it mean to work hard to keep the score at 60? He walked away with a headache. Here, the interview is still going on. Sci-fi also went in, but as a star guest, she just went through the motions. Your main job is a star. Dr. Chen smiled, but your medicine is not bad, at least in terms of theoretical knowledge. Have you considered quitting the circle and changing jobs? There are generally two types of doctors. One is clinical and the other is scientific. The variety show The Birth of a Staff examines medical students in real time, and clinical medical students are very dominant. Sci-fi was very polite. I don't have this consideration for now, but being a star doesn't prevent me from saving people. The three teachers looked at each other and saw the pity in each other's eyes. Okay, thank you for your answer. Dr. Chen smiled. If you want to quit the circle, feel free to contact us. We can provide you with positions and information on studying abroad. After Sci-fi came out, Lu Xingheng went in. He stayed for a long time, and Sci-fi saw that he was scolded. Very pitiful. At noon, Sci-fi also ate the hospital staff meal. Sang Yanking came over and said, I heard Director Qin say that you are doing well. It seems that you have indeed restrained yourself. Nothing happened today, right? Sci-fi thought for a while. I was pulled and asked if I wanted to retire. Okay. Sang Yanking. Musi, what idol do you have fans of? Afternoon. 10 interns and 2 star guests are waiting in the office. This time, the 3 leading teachers are all chief physicians, and the strongest is Qin Yuzong, the doctor of Qin. In general, your written test results, we didn't expect. Qin Yuzong handed out the papers. It would be so unsatisfactory, in other words, very poor. Sci-fi and Ningxi are star guests and will not be involved in the final offer battle, so the leading teacher did not release their results. The first is a returnee postdoctoral fellow with 82 points. The second is Wei Chenjian, with 74 points. The third is also a returnee postdoctoral fellow with a score of 68. Lu Xingheng ranked 4th with 60 points. The others failed, mostly in their early 50s. Sci-fi looked at the scores. Failed. I knew she should have scored 10. Lu Xingheng was obviously a little surprised. He didn't use his full strength. Can he still rank 4th? Today's interview also disappointed us. Xia University's top students are really top students. Qin Yu recited lightly, student in hepatobiliary and pancreatic surgery. Liver anatomy is drawn like this. Elementary school students are better than you. What have you learned? Neurosurgery can't even tie the knots of general surgery. If you are like this, who can trust you to do surgery? Have a year and a half of clinical experience. It's okay if you have poor theoretical knowledge. What if the wrong medicine is prescribed? The theory and practice are combined. Do you think it's enough to just focus on one side? He didn't directly name names, but the interns knew who he was talking about. Chen Wengzhen blushed and lowered his head. He also did not expect that he would be asked to draw an anatomy of the liver during the interview. Bai Jingxi has been in the society for a year and a half and already has some experience. She was barely able to keep a smile, but her face was also ugly. Isn't it a variety show? What are you doing so seriously? If they really have the strength to go directly to the operating room, there is no need to participate in variety shows to get an offer. As the chief physician, Qin Yuzong was too strict. She looked at her 38-point paper, and her face flushed. Come on, tell me, the patients and their families, who will let you enter the operating room with confidence, and who will trust the patient to be handed over to you. Qin Yu slapped the table. Are you at ease? Say it, say it. It's too hard to train a doctor. Undergraduate is a 5-year system, graduate students study for 3 years, doctoral students study for 3 years, and 11 years are gone. After entering the hospital, it takes at least 15 years to go from resident physician to the most senior chief physician. Had to be cautious. The office was quite silent, and the interns bowed their heads. Lu Xingheng was intrigued. This feeling of being scolded is all too familiar. That's how he was scolded, and he even felt that the scolding was too light. Indeed. If something goes wrong, it could lead to a life-threatening event. He was also scolded for not answering the question well today, and it seemed that he had to take it seriously. Sci-fi also listened attentively. After all, she also came here. No one can do anything from the start. She studied medicine with the master of Ghost Valley for 3 years. But in reality, 300 years have passed since the holographic game. From the very beginning, she couldn't even tell the difference between profound pearl grass and heartbroken grass, but she was punished by Gigo to identify 10,000 heartbroken grass. Heartbroken grass is very poisonous, and her limbs were completely numb to the end, and she was in a coma for a day and a night in the wild, during which the Lord of Ghost Valley did not take care of her. At the juncture of life and death, Sci-fi never confuses the two medicines again. Because she knew that if she messed up, it would cost her life. Okay, the written test and interview are over, and the next one is a week of practice, Qin Yuzong said lightly. Those who fail the internship will be eliminated. This is a workplace, not a greenhouse. Don't think that you can pass by. At this time, Wu Weining raised her hand. Teacher, since I have participated in our show, we must treat them equally. Although the star guests are different from us, they have all received 3 days of training. I think they should be the same as us. I want to know how much their scores can get after 3 days of training. She sat next to Ningxi and saw Ningxi's score. 18 points. Very low, very low. There are still people in Ningxi's family who practice medicine and understand some basic principles. Sci-fi doesn't have it. Where can it go? Why only scold them? Hearing her question, Qin Yuzong raised his head and glanced at her lightly. Wu Weining was a little nervous, but she still didn't back down. Bai Jingxi also raised his head. She only got 38 points in the test, and Sci-fi is probably in single digits. You still want to be publicly executed, right? You can. Qin Yuzong took away Sci-fi's paper and slapped it on the table. Come, look at a star. Why is the written test higher than yours? It's so hard for non-professionals to write. No wonder my medical classmates are losing a lot of hair. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 334. Qin Yuzong did not approve the papers, but he participated in the whole interview. To his satisfaction, no more than 5. He said that the anatomy of the liver drawn by the top students of Xia University was too ugly, and he was referring to Chen Wengzhen. Chen Wengzhen's written test score was just so-so, with 58 points. But Sci-fi was a star and scored 60 points. Qin Yuzong is the chief physician, and his eyes are vicious. Of course, he can see that Sci-fi is answering by stepping on the scoring point. It can be said that she has absolutely no problem with full marks on this paper. He didn't want to compare celebrity guests with these medical interns. But there are always people who don't give up. The interns saw the scores on the papers. 60 points. Passing score, but it has already killed a lot of people. Did you see it? Qin Yuzong glanced at him. You are a medical student, and you passed 55 in the exam, but you can't compare to 3 days of training. If you study for the same length as you, it will be enough for your ancestors. Wu Weining's face was flushed red and she was murmuring, unable to utter a word. She only felt cold hands and feet, and the gazes of others were like thorns on her back, making her breathless. Bai Jingxi was also shocked, and his face was burning with pain. It was incredible that Sci-fi could answer the question that day. She could get 60 points in the written test. I memorized it ahead of time, Sci-fi said at the right time. Mr. Qin, I will never forget it. Qin Yuzong did not expose her, but gave her a smile. He blinked and said with his mouth, "Next time, you can take the test a little lower." "Si fucking." She decided, next time she will give a blank. At this moment, Lu Xingheng whistled, "Mr. Si is amazing. I didn't write so many questions, and I passed 60 on the test. If I wrote all of them, it would be more than 60. As soon as he finished speaking, he received Si fucking's death look. Lu Xingheng closed his mouth. In the next teaching, Wu Weining and Chen Wengzhen did not dare to say a word. Bai Jingxi didn't dare to stumble again. She just hopes to start clinical practice as soon as possible. Clinical practice will tell Si fucking that theory alone is not enough. "Okay, I'll bring the cardiology department after the lecture." Qin Yuzong closed the book, the department of neurosurgery and Dr. Chen, and the rest with Dr. Lu. The two-star guests are free to do whatever they want. After departments are assigned, team members are also separated. Si fucking thought about it and went to the backstage. When Director Qin saw her, he said faintly, "Tell me, what else is there that you won't know?" Speaking of this, Si fucking felt sad. "I'm a kitchen killer." Director Qin, enough is enough. Si fucking raised his eyebrows. "Director Qin, I beg of you. Don't talk to me in this tone." Director Qin was a little nervous. "You speak first. The part just now was cut, don't broadcast it." Si fucking said, "I have been studying for longer than them. Don't let the audience feel that they are incompetent. Studying medicine is very hard." Hearing this sentence, Director Qin was stunned for a while, and it took him a long time to recover. Okay, listen to you, this part didn't exist originally. Originally, the program team gave you a good-looking vase. I understand." Si fucking looked serious. "I try not to lie down so fake." Director Qin nodded, and suddenly felt that something was wrong. "You have studied longer than them? The youngest of them is almost 25. How long can you study?" Si fucking said the truth, 300 years. Director Qin, "Do you still have your pills? Give me a few more bottles. He might have to get an iron heart transplant." In the first week of internship, I just followed the leading teacher to ask the patient's medical history and do some basic physical examinations. But for medical students without clinical experience, communicating with patients is a big problem. The day's internship finally ended, and even Lu Xingheng felt exhausted and went back to rest. Qin Yu recited into the department and saw that the front light of the desk was still on. Si fucking sat in front of the computer, very serious. Qin Yuzong was stunned for a moment, then surprised, "You haven't left yet? It is now 12 o'clock at night. Not to mention the interns, even the nurses are already on duty." Qin Yuzong was indeed not strict with Si fucking. First, because she is a star guest, participating in this variety show really cannot be equal to other medical students. The second is because it is not strict. Ask her any questions, she can answer fluently, and the combination of theory and practice is also perfect. Born for the profession of a doctor. Too bad it's a star. Well, there is something I didn't understand properly today. I'll read the book again." Si fucking raised his head. "Mr. Qin, don't worry about me, you can get off work." "Where?" Qin Yuzong came over. "Tell me about it." Si fucking asked a few questions about the cardiology department. Qin Yuzong also explained everything to her. Understood. Si fucking made an okay gesture. "I'll leave the remaining cases as a pair." Qin Yuzong was silent for a long time, and his voice suddenly dropped. "If you are tired of acting, I hope to see you standing on the operating table in the future." He patted her on the shoulder and went out. The night shift nurse came in to get something and sighed, "It's a pity for Dr. Qin." Si fucking just finished checking the last bit of information and asked, "What's wrong?" "It just happened 2 years ago." The head nurse shook his head. "There was a medical disturbance in the hospital. 2 were slightly injured and 1 was seriously injured. Dr. Qin was seriously injured." He was slashed several times on his body, and he was rescued in the ICU for 2 days. It was not easy to be rescued, and the bones of the hand were also connected and grown, but there is no way to do the surgery, alas. His life was saved, but Qin Yuzong could no longer hold the scalpel and stand on the operating table. Sci-fi also fell silent, no wonder. No wonder Qin Yu recited so much temper today. Dr. Qin is still very gentle. The head nurse chatted with her a few more words when she was free. If you ask him a question, he will answer you patiently. We like him very much, good doctor. Sci-Fu nodded. At 1 o'clock in the morning, Sci-Fu left the hospital. The hospital is still brightly lit, and many doctors are staying overnight. Yu Jian came to pick her up, and she was quite silent all the way. Not in line with her usual temperament. Yu Jian asked, "What is the younger sister thinking?" "I'm thinking that I have a hard heart, but I still don't see the suffering of the world." Sci-Fu looked out the window. "Sometimes I think, if only I could save everyone. If she was stronger, she could save Ye Wanlin and Lu Qingning." Yu Jian's eyes narrowed slightly. "Little junior sister, you are not a god. Even God cannot save everyone." Stopping in front of the hotel, Sci-Fu seemed to have made up his mind, and suddenly turned his head. "Third senior sister, I need to replicate your ability." Yu Jian's expression changed. "What? Modern medicine can't do it, but supernatural can do it." Sci-Fu said lightly, "I need to borrow your ability to repair Dr. Qin's hands." Yuemi frowned. "Your current evolutionary level is only B level. If you copy my ability, it will put too much load on your body. Have you considered the after effects? At most, I will be in a coma for a few days, and I will vomit blood at most." Sci-Fu smiled, "But I can get a doctor to perform the operation again." Her fox eyes are black and white, very bright. Yu Jian had no way to refuse, so he could only respond, "Okay." She has never studied medicine, although she is a spiritual evolutionist. She can't do some things. Tsukimi watched Sci-Fu enter the hotel. Copy. This kind of terrifying evolutionary ability, the entire world plus the free continent, only 3 people have it. But the other 2 evolutionaries have only a D rating. There is no threat, and it is even more impossible to replicate that devastating evolutionary ability. Moon frowned again. Little junior sister borrowed the corpse to bring back her soul. Why is the ability of the evolutionary still the same as before? But the evolutionary is not something that can only be answered by genes. The Evolutionary Alliance has been studying for so long, and there are many things that are unclear. Tsukimi searches a bar and drives away. Early the next morning. In the ward. A loud noise broke out. MS Song, "Don't worry, our program team and the hospital can guarantee her ability." Director Qin said, "There is no need to change people." "No, absolutely not," the woman said decisively. "I won't let her take care of the elderly in my family. This matter is not negotiable. It's your business that you record the show. If you let her come to see my father, I will do it right now. Expose you online. Don't stars just act and sing on stage? Participating in a job-seeking variety show is outrageous, and it's still medicine. Let her directly diagnose the patient. If something goes wrong, can she afford it? As for the guarantee of the program group and the hospital, women are just farting. Guaranteed to cure the patient? What, are you kidding?" In any case, the patient's family did not agree, and Director Qin and the director had no choice but to give up. The director contacted the major departments and arranged a new patient. An 85-year-old grandmother. "Grandma, let me tell you, a little girl will come to take care of you in a while," the director said. "Don't look at this little girl's youth, she is really good at medicine. It's this little girl, look at her pretty." "Oh, I know," the grandmother nodded again and again. "She looks so pretty, I've seen it on TV." As the first elective program in the development department, youth and Youth is being broadcast for the second time on Starlight Channel. SI fucking fired up again. That's okay, Grandma, you have a good rest, the director nodded. Just tell her if you feel uncomfortable, and she will write it down. The grandmother smiled and nodded. The woman caught a glimpse and snorted coldly. If you look good enough to coax people, you can be a doctor? Really joking. She was glad that she had let the show team change, but she would never put her father's health in SI fucking's hands. It is no secret that the patient's family members strongly demanded a replacement, and it has also spread among the interns. Jinxie was suppressed for a few days, and finally he felt a sense of exaltation. She said earlier that the theory is completely different from the real clinical practice. Qin Yuzong was explaining the main points of the day. After he finished speaking, he asked, "Any questions?" Mr. Qin Si fucking stepped forward and said softly, "Can't you have any more surgery? Apart from your hand, where else do you feel uncomfortable?" This question was caught off guard. Qin Yuzong was stunned for a moment. He pursed his lower lip, and did not answer. "Tomorrow you will face the patient alone, and the chief physician will come to ask questions. Don't ask 3 questions at that time." After saying that, he left. The interns also packed up and went back to their clinics. On the way, "Is she too blind?" Chen Wengzhen couldn't help but said. "Did she not watch the news? That incident was so big that it was the second trial a while ago, so she didn't put a knife in teacher Qin's heart. It is precisely because it is difficult to train a doctor that Qin Yuzong's case has made more people regret and grieve. It was also because of the medical disturbance that the Qinjun League dispatched an escort team to maintain the safety of the doctors in the first hospital of Fornine City. But how to remedy it afterward? Even Cai Zhonian would not be able to change Qin Yuzong's hand. He can go to the doctor, but he can't go to the operating table." Knowing that Qin Yuzong was among the leading doctors this time, the mentors of Chen Wengzhen and Wu Weining personally told them not to say anything wrong. Jinxie smiled lightly. "Celebrities, they don't eat the sufferings of the world. They don't like working and social animals. They have to squeeze the subway every day, and they don't earn as much as others." This sentence aroused the inner dissatisfaction of Chen Wengzhen and Wu Weining very well. The two looked at each other, feeling very unhappy. Here, Si fucking did not leave, but went to Qin Yuzong's office. "What's the problem today?" Qin Yuzong was very kind. "Ask them all." Si fucking looked directly at him. "Mr. Qin, I only have one question. Do you want to stand on the operating table again?" Qin Yuzong looked at her, and his expression gradually subsided. He gradually realized that Si fucking didn't just ask this question out of curiosity. "Of course," Qin Yuzong said softly, "but some things can't be done just by thinking." He lowered his head. The big man in his 40s, his eyes were red, and his breathing was trembling. "Mr. Qin, I can heal your hand," Si fucking said slowly. "Xia cannot lose a doctor like you." The breathing stopped abruptly. "Ching Ching is a little angel. I love her forever. QWQ. Thank you for your monthly pass. I had a dream at noon. It was terrifying and suspenseful. When I woke up, I only felt that this dream was logically perfect without any loopholes, and it was still an O. Henry's ending. If I could write it down, I would definitely be amazed, but after a few seconds, I couldn't remember anything. Faintly I remember a ghost story about the subway. The ghost laughed in front of me and then I woke up. I think the only illogical thing is that I didn't get scared to death first, but I was thinking about how to write a novel." Smiley face. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 335. The office was also silent, not even the heartbeat could be heard. Si fucking's words hit his eardrums frantically like a stormy sea, and his heart trembled. He looked shocked. "What did you say?" "You can trust me," Si fucking said calmly. "Why should a good doctor like you be destroyed because of those garbage?" Qin Yuchen's palm slowly tightened. It's not that he didn't regret it, but it's useless to regret some things. If he hadn't gone to the hospital that day, maybe the hand wouldn't have been destroyed. It's not that I don't believe you. Qin Yuzong calmed down and exhaled slowly. You're right, I've always wanted to go back to the operating table, and it doesn't matter if my hands do other things, it's fine. Lifting heavy objects, but with the development of modern medical technology, there was no way to get his hands back to their previous state. In short, performing the operation requires an extreme level of precision that his current hands cannot do. Neuronal cells are permanent cells and cannot be regenerated. Scientists have yet to find a way to regenerate nerve cells. It's not that Qin Yuzong didn't want to cure his hand, he also went to all the top hospitals in the Western continent, and was told that there was no way. But now, some people say it can cure his hand. Yes, the development of modern medical technology cannot restore your hand. Si Fukin nodded, but supernatural science can. The office fell silent again. Qin Yuzong looked at Si Fucking again, and began to wonder if she had entered some pyramid scheme by mistake. But her expression was so serious that no one could doubt it. Mr. Qin, the potential of the human body is infinite, and we haven't even explored 1%. Si Fucking said, when you suture the wound, the human body is actually healing itself. If the cells of the human body do not have the ability to regenerate, even a genius doctor is powerless. Qin Yuzong nodded, that's the truth. Before the onset of myocardial infarction, the body also has a warning. Si Fucking laughed lazily, so I just need to convince your body that nerve cells can be regenerated, and then your hand can recover. Qin Yu recited. After 3 seconds, he slowly said, tell me honestly, are you going to pull me into the MLM organization? Si Fucking raised his eyebrows and pushed the phone over. Mr. Qin, look at these two news. Qin Yuzong took it and took a look. These two pieces of news are what happened in the Western continent. A man whose lower body was paralyzed suddenly recovered in what has been called a medical miracle. The other was in a vegetative state and was determined by the hospital that he could not wake up, but one day, he woke up. Both of these two news have made headlines in the local area, but not too many people took it to heart, and only regarded it as a manifestation of God. But it's different in the evolutionary circle. The evolutionary with the spiritual system rescued the two people. You said that modern medicine couldn't cure them, but they recovered. Si Fucking looked directly at him. Do you believe that God is blessing them, just like the people in the Western continent? Qin Yuzong fell silent. He's an atheist and a materialist who's been hit hard today. Okay, Qin Yuzong took a deep breath. You are not someone who likes to talk big, I believe you can say that, there must be a way, but if you fail in the end, don't blame yourself, okay? He is a doctor, and he knows that many doctors fall into huge self-blame for failing to save a patient. Mr. Qin, how about our appointment tomorrow morning? Si Fucking sighed, it just happens to be the weekend, and the program team will have a day off. Yes, Qin Yuzong agreed happily. You decide the location. Si Fucking, it's in your office, we don't have surgery, you'll be fine. Qin Yu recited. He began to doubt his three views again. I'm going to continue my internship. Si Fucking picked up the folder. Mr. Qin, you will save a lot of people in the future. She leaves the office. Tsukimi, as her assistant, followed suit this time. Yu Jian actually did not agree with Si Fucking using the ability of an evolutionary to treat Qin Yuzong. This is not the time when human life is at stake. If more calamities are caused by saving Qin Yuzong's hands, the gains will outweigh the losses. It may even be life-threatening. Yu Jian glanced at the closed door. Really want to cure him? Little junior sister, have you ever thought that the news that his hand is cured will be spread out, and ordinary people will not know the inside story, but it can evolve. The Alliance will instantly know that there must be an evolutionary shot. If I cure him, he will be able to save more people. Si Fucking said lightly. he is a doctor, and a doctor's duty is to save lives and heal the wounded, so what I treat is not just one pair of hands, but countless lives. Qin Yuzong is the chief physician of the Department of Cardiology. Every year, many patients die of various cardiovascular diseases. But with Qin Yu chanting, the death rate can be greatly reduced. Yu Jian's eyes froze for a moment, and she sighed softly, "Little junior sister, you say you are hard-hearted, but sometimes you are surprisingly soft. Third senior sister, please help me." I fucking hugged her arm and started to act like a spoiled child. "I know you are the best. When I go back to the division, I will tell everyone that you are better than second senior brother." Tsukishima precisely grasped her fate. "Okay, I surrender." Yujian raised his hand, "I will listen to you." I fucking went to check the ward. She also knew her patients had been switched, but didn't care. What the hospital arranged for these interns could not be an emergency and would not lead to death. "Grandma, how are you today?" I fucking bent down. "Does your stomach still hurt?" "There's still a bit." The grandmother said a few words, and then opened the chat box. "Alas, my granddaughter also said that you shouldn't apply for this variety show, saying that you will be blackened by the whole network again, which makes people anxious." I fucking thought for a while, and took out a signed photo. "Grandma, next time your granddaughter comes, you can give it to her and let her study with peace of mind." "I'm fine." Backstage shooting. The director was very satisfied. "MSSI is really suitable for being a doctor. She is very good at communicating with patients. The elderly like her, such a well-behaved daughter." Qin Dao's mouth twitched. "Don't be deceived by her appearance. Clever. It's very well behaved, and even tied a bow to the python. Very girly." There were no major problems with today's recording, but some interns were still reprimanded by Qin Yuzong, including Wei Chenjian. Several people did not ask the patient's medical history thoroughly. At dinner, Ning Ji sighed, "My qualifications are not worthy of studying medicine." "It's not worthy or not," I fucking bit the bun. "As long as you study hard, you can study for a long time." Hearing this, Bai Jingxi looked up. Study hard? Talking about the word hard work in front of so many top medical students? Ironic enough. The interns were eating when the restaurant door was pushed open. The crowd looked back. Bai Jingxi stood up in surprise. "Secretary Liu." Secretary Liu is Li Yinshan's personal secretary. He came to prove that Li Yinshan came to visit her class. "We will bring you some food, Mr. Li." The secretary smiled. "It's hard for everyone to film these days." Hearing this sentence, the interns were inevitably a little cautious. Including two returnee postdoctoral fellows in their 30s, they were even older than Li Yinshan. But in the circle of Sijukan, who would have never heard of Li Yinshan's name? The Li family originally had to be lower than the Lin family, but because of Li Yinshan's monstrous means, the Li family was successfully promoted to the second echelon of giants next to the Yu family. Li Yinshan stood at the door and didn't go in, just glanced at the secretary. The secretary understood and began to distribute drinks and food. When it was sent to Si fucking, he specifically said, "Miss Si, this is your milk tea. Don't drink it, there is non-dairy cream in it, which is not good for your health." Si fucking lowered his head and wrote the case. "I am a star, and I have to keep in shape." The secretary is speechless. The milk tea they bought is not a street shop, but made by a top dessert house. Where can there be any non-dairy creamer? He looked at Li Yinshan and said in a low voice, "Miss Si, this is Mr. Li's heart, you should understand." Si fucking still didn't look up. "If you say it or not, can't you hear it?" The secretary had no choice but to put down the milk tea and back out. Bai Jingxi naturally saw this scene. She squeezed the glass tightly, her fingers turning white. "What is Si fucking doing? You started to flirt with Li Yinshan in front of her? Having Su Yang is not enough, do you need another one?" Bai Jingxi couldn't bear it anymore, But so many people looked at her, she was Li Yinchen's girlfriend again, she had to be generous, otherwise she would be criticized. Li Yinchen finally said, "Okay." The secretary wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Mr. Li has something to do. I'll come back to visit you another day." The door was closed again. Ningji whispered, "Mr. Si, don't you like drinking milk tea very much?" Si fucking rarely posts on Weibo, but the studio is still active and often posts about her daily life. The most common is the milk tea cola fried chicken. "It depends on who sent it," Si fucking lazily said. "What if I drink it from someone else and get sick?" Ningji nodded, "Yes, we still need to pay more attention outside." Si fucking didn't work overtime today, and left the hospital on time. Sang Yanking also knew about Li Yan's investigation into the class, and immediately became vigilant. She kept her mind and called Yu Zion. "Mr. Yu, something happened today." Yu Zion raised her head. "Li Yinchen." On the side, Feng San understood and opened the information. He is the eldest son of the second house of the Li family, and is currently the general manager of the Li family group. Yu Zion hummed lightly, "Yuji's child, haven't you found it yet?" Feng San hesitated, "It's still matching foreign DNA banks. Even with zero dispatch, finding a child who was lost 20 years ago is tantamount to finding a needle in a haystack. And some people in remote areas will not be included in the DNA bank at all." Yu Zion nodded and said lightly, "As soon as possible." Feng San responded. Boss Si fucking looked at the cat and cat, "I want to drink milk tea, where did you buy it last time?" Yu Zion raised her eyebrows, and said slowly, "Do it yourself, and have enough food and clothing." "What did you do?" Si fucking was surprised, and immediately applauded, "No wonder, I said why it tastes so good, even better than what I drink outside. Boss, you are amazing." Feng San. He has studied for so long, but he is still not as good as Missy's rainbow fart. The first court of 49 City is here. Qin Yuzong was still in the office to deal with the case, but he couldn't calm down. What Si fucking said during the day continued to echo in his ears. He didn't hold out any hope, he just thought Si fucking was kind. At this moment, the office door was pushed open. "Have you left yet?" Cai Zhonian walked in. "How is today?" "There is progress." Qin Yu recited back to his senses, "The children are all able to endure hardships. It's tiring to do our job." "Your hand, it's such a pity." Cai Zhonian was also very distressed. "You and Qing Chen are both rare medical geniuses. But such a genius was ruined by a medical dispute. The main culprit of the medical troubles is to go in for a few years at most, and who can get a hand back? I've told you all about it. I went to Liberty Island to study and I heard about a genius doctor." Cai Zhonian said, "The name is Ghost Doctor. This genius doctor is really powerful, even vegetative people can be saved. It's a pity that no one knows where he went. If I can find him, your hand will definitely be saved." But seeing Qin Yuzong looking at him in shock, his hands trembled. Cai Zhonian wondered, "What kind of expression do you have? Don't believe it? I'm serious, someone got better after a nap. Sounds incredible, right? But with doctors like that, the end of science is theology." Qin Yuzong tried his best to restrain his frantically beating heart, and he slowly exhaled, "If what you said is true, I may have met the genius doctor you said. While writing this chapter, I remembered watching Doctor Strange. Supreme Master Guyi, I made him believe that he can walk on his own legs. Doctor Strange as a doctor materialist." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 336. This time, it was Cai Zhongnian's turn to be surprised. He paused for a few seconds before speaking. What did you say? Did you see it? Qin Yuchen recalled what Si fucking said to him in the morning. His fingers were still shaking. Maybe not, I think too much. You must be thinking too much. Cai Zhou Nian breathed a sigh of relief. How can they come to Sijukan when they are in the Free State? In the Free State, everyone is asking for it. Qin Yu recited a wry smile. Yes. Where the Free State was, he didn't dare to think too much. No matter what the outcome is tomorrow, he will accept it. This is today's score sheet. Cai Zhou Nian picked up the document next to him. Well, Wei Chenjiun is good, Lu Xingheng is also good. Yes, yes, this variety show has indeed sent a lot of medical talents. He turned it over, but didn't see Si fuckings. Is there another one? Qin Yuzong was stunned for a moment, and silently took it out from the folder. Cai Zhou Nian took it over and took a look. Patient rating, 100. Nurse rating, 100. Attending physician rating, 100. Overall rating, 100. Several other interns, the highest returnee postdoctoral fellow, scored only 95. This score is much more difficult than the full score of the written test, because people are evaluating and there is no specific answer. But Si fucking still got full marks. Cai Zhou Nian fell silent. Qin Yuzong explained one more sentence. It's a bit of a dimensionality reduction to put them together. Si fucking's theoretical knowledge is very rich, and his clinical experience is not bad. It stands to reason that it takes 10 years to train such a doctor, but she is only 19 years old this year. Qin Yuzong couldn't figure it out either. But he has heard the term supernatural today, and his ability to accept it is gradually becoming stronger. Yu Chan, you are the leader of the team, you must persuade her well. Cai Zhou Nian said earnestly, let her quit the circle, it's a pity that she doesn't have a scalpel in her hands. Qin Yuzong laughed, okay, I will try my best. I'm robbing old man Gu. Cai Zhou Nian lowered his voice, you have to help me, while this girl is still recording the first issue, let's grab someone, and when she records the second issue, old man Gu will just cry. Qin Yu recited. He suspected that he had heard it wrong. You mean President Gu? It's this old man who told me to come first, and then come first. I really think I'm a fool. Cai Zhou Nian was very proud. Let's get the moon first when we approach the water tower, and we're so mad at the old man. He went out with his hands behind his back, leaving behind Qin Yuzong, who was still in shock. Cai Zhou Nian is the ceiling of the domestic medical world, and Gu Huiyan is the art world. The two have a good relationship and get together every month. The two ceilings fought for the sake of the Si fucking. Qin Yuzong continued with the case. He needs to numb his nerves to calm down. The other side. Si fucking successfully drank the milk tea made by Yuzian himself. After she had a full meal, she went upstairs with her gaming helmet on. Feng San glanced curiously, why did Miss Si still buy a helmet? She drives a car. Yuzian said lightly, that's the game helmet of Eternal. Feng San was stunned, Miss Si has an account of Eternal. Yuzian finally raised her eyes and said, you can go down. Feng San resolutely rolled away. Yuzian rested her head in one hand, and then read the document. Playing a holographic game is better than playing a development game. Upstairs. Si fucking put on the game helmet. This time she stepped in, and she was definitely not late. Then this time, she will be able to see the Emperor Yin, who is enthroned as emperor. The fifth time I came to 1,500 years ago, before the scene in front of me was completely clear, Si fucking heard a roar, presumptuous. You want to kill the king and kill the father. Although the roar was loud, it was mixed with fear. Si fucking opened his eyes and saw that the Zikan hall was dripping with blood, and there were many corpses on the ground. The sound came from the dragon chair above. The old emperor was both frightened and angry, and he said sternly, "You still won't step down? If you want the throne, I can give it to you." He never thought that the ninth son, whom he looked down on the most on weekdays, would lead troops into his dormitory and kill his close officials and guards. Sci-fi was stunned, and then followed the old emperor's trembling eyes to see the past. The young man was tall and slender, and his black hair was tied up high by a silver crown. He was still dressed in white, but with an extra layer of armor, which made him look as handsome as a god. In stark contrast to the old emperor with fat head and fat ears. Killing the king, he smiled slightly, but his tone was cold. "You are not, and you are not worthy." Chong. In the next second, the dragon sparrow sword was unsheathed, broke through the air, and headed straight towards the dragon chair. The old emperor screamed and fell to the ground. The blade directly broke his crown, and his hair was scattered. In ancient times, parents who paid attention to physical hair and skin, breaking their hair was a real insult. Sci-fi had no sympathy for the old emperor. She raised her eyebrows with interest. She came at the right time this time, so intense at the beginning. The old emperor was too frightened to speak, and his body kept shaking. The guards who came to rescue the car from outside the hall did not dare to enter. "I'm alone here." The young man turned around with an indifferent expression, and stood with his hands behind his back. "Those who are outlaws, those who dare to call themselves soldiers, those who are in the midst of cholera. All cut." The dragon sparrow sword trembled for a moment, then swept up in an instant, and it was dripping with blood again. Outside the hall, footsteps sounded. The remaining guards were also beheaded, and Emperor Yin's cronies had arrived. Only 4 people came in and bowed down to the emperor in white. "My minister, Zhang Haiping, see your majesty." "My minister, Ji Chunyuan, see your majesty." "My minister, Mo Yanfan, see your majesty." "Chen, Fen Yubai, join your majesty." Sci-fi was shocked. 4 great families. At this time, it was still Zhang, Ji, Mo, and Feng. Sci-fi looked at Zhang Haiping, who was nearly 40 years old, and his eyes suddenly sank. She recalled the records in the history books. In the year 675 of the Xia calendar, Zhang Haiping was the guardian of the country and sacrificed himself in the Great Summer. In the same year, Zhang Xuanjian, the son of the Zhang family, took the post of marshal and went to Bizhu with his brother to guard the borderland. But for 7 years, the Zhang family will all die in battle. The 9 sons of the Zhang family went, but no one returned. In the year 687 of the Xia calendar, 3 years after the death of Emperor Yin, there were foreigners who invaded Bizhu. Zhang Zheyu, the only daughter of the Zhang family, carried the will of her father and brother. At this point, Jiang's blood was cut off, and the Zhang family was full of loyalty. Originally it was supposed to be the 4 great aristocratic families, but the Zhang family was gone. Sci-fi stared at Zhang Haiping closely, and for a while he was unable to connect him with Marshal Zhenqiu in the history books. Zhang Haiping seemed to sense something and glanced in her direction. But he didn't see anything, and he looked back with some doubts. His eyes fell on the old emperor again, extremely cold. The old emperor was incompetent and only cared about himself. The 5 states were full of smoke, but in the palace, there were songs and nights, and the people were full of complaints. Fortunately, the Mingjun was born, and he was able to serve the new emperor and protect the foundation of the Great Xia. No regrets to die. At this moment, all the people in the palace are from Emperor Yin, and the old emperor has no ability to resist, and was taken into custody in an instant. After the matter was settled, the emperor in white said, "You guys step back first." "Yes, your majesty." The 4 got up and walked outside the hall. "I always felt that someone was staring at me." Zhang Haiping hesitated. "Look around, there won't be anything, right?" Ji Chunyuan looked around and shook his head. "Your majesty is the fate of Ziwei, the only emperor's destiny. How can a floating spirit dare to approach His Majesty's body? Zhang Haiping thought so too. He nodded and saw the scroll in Mo Yanfan's hand again. What is this? Mo Yanfan smiled. The sketch of the city. I want to build an unbreakable city to protect Yong'an. There are thousands of hidden weapons in it. After I finish the construction, I will destroy the blueprint. It is my Mo family disciple. No solution either. Brother Mo is indeed a genius. Zhang Haiping laughed, but don't worry, with my Zhang family here, no one dares to take a step against me. The four of them chatted and laughed, and soon left the hall. The hall fell silent. Sci-fi suddenly realized that the famous figures in history she saw were all mortal. A page gently turned in the history book is their magnificent life. You're here on the golden dragon chair. The emperor in white stretched out his hand, his voice very soft. Look, I haven't seen you for a year, and a lot of changes have taken place. This year, he killed more people and imprisoned many people, including his biological brother. Now, even the biological father has become a prisoner. In the world of great competition, born in the royal family, if you lose your life. He couldn't lose. Even if he was scolded for killing his father and murdering his monarch, he would still be the emperor. Sci took a few steps closer and saw a lot of scars on his body. One can imagine how he got here this year. Growth comes at the cost of death. The emperor in white was silent for a while, and suddenly said, "You just stared at Zhang Haiping, what were you thinking?" Sci didn't expect him to be so keen that anyone who was looking at her could spot her. She hesitated and wrote in his palm. Die. Everyone will die. He seemed a little surprised, and then said lightly, if there is life, there will be death. As long as it is human, it will die, and so will I. He didn't call her orphan in front of her. Sci tilted his eyelashes slightly and fell silent. Yes, you will die at 27, only 13 years. But in these 13 years, you have done far more than in the past 1300 years. I promised you to conquer the world. He raised his eyebrows. This is the first step. I know you won't be able to stay long, so I moved the enthronement ceremony to today. Look, you rest first. What do you need? Just tell me. Sci-Fucking's eyes lit up and he wrote a few words. Needle cloth. He didn't ask. Well, I'll have someone bring it. Soon a guard brought something, and Sci-Fucking sat on the ground and began to embroider the dragon robe. She was arranged to a place with a wide perspective, where you could see the enthronement ceremony of Emperor Yin. Emperor Yin's ascension to the throne was the aspiration of the people. Cheers sounded, and Sci-Fucking raised his head and watched the young emperor ascend the steps step by step, walking towards the highest place. Below, the ministers bowed their heads, and all the officials bowed. On May 6, 671 of the Chinese calendar, Emperor Yin was enthroned as the emperor, with the highest aspirations of the universe, following the subjects of the 5 states, establishing the capital Yong'an, the era named Tianhe, and creating a prosperous era of Tianhe. This is one of the most important nodes in the history of the Great Xia dynasty, and history books have written a lot about it. But no director dared to do it. Not to mention Emperor Yin, even Zhang Haiping and Mo Yanfan, no actor can play them. But now, she saw the scene with her own eyes. The prosperous summer begins today. After this, he will end the troubled times, bring peace to the world, fix the 5 states, drive away the barbarians, and protect the frontiers. Later, in the name of the great summer dragon sparrow, it will deter the entire western continent. Sci stared blankly. If only he could live a little longer. As if feeling her gaze, on the steps, the young emperor suddenly turned his head and looked in her direction. His eyes are deep, difficult to distinguish between depths, and elusive. At the same time, Sci heard the long-lost game system prompt. Hint: subsequent crossing requires a game cabin. Please use the game cabin to log into the game, I wish you a happy game. Si fucking was bounced back to the login space again. She was quite calm this time. Many experiences have long told her not to have any hope for the game. But fortunately, this time she stayed for a long time and let her finish embroidering the dragon robe. Si fucking took off his gaming helmet, it was already done outside. She contacted Jizingzi, my game cabin hasn't come back yet. It's still stuck by customs. Jizingzi scratched his head, I heard that there is some chaos on the Liberty Island, and it will take another month at the earliest. Si fucking frowned, so long. What's the matter? Ji-Seen was puzzled, are you going to the 10 Fierce Lands? There are enough game helmets in other places. No. Si fucking paused, she whispered, I'm afraid he won't be able to wait. Jizingzi was stunned, who? It's alright. Si fucking returned to his senses, I sent you a few array diagrams that you can use. Thank you eldest brother. Jizingzi was very happy, brother, my G family's road to revival depends entirely on you, and you can entrust all my G family's hopes. Si fucking was ruthless, don't feed me the big cake that your grandfather drew for you, it won't work. Jizingzi. That's right. Si fucking thought for a while, there should be Ji Chunyuan's books in your G family's library, right? Can you lend me a look? Ji Chunyuan, Jizingzi was stunned again, why did you suddenly think of him? Yes, what do you see him doing? Learn more. Si fucking said with a sloppy expression, just send it to me. Okay. Jizingzi was very happy, I'll send it to you directly. By the way, my old man just went to Sijukan. You don't have to be polite to him, he will only draw big cakes. After the call ended, Si fucking sat on the bed for a while before getting out of bed. She simply packed up and took Yuejian to the first hospital of Sijukan. Although the program team was on vacation today, Wei Chenjiun, 2 returnee postdoctoral fellows and other interns were still working overtime. Several interns were a little surprised when they saw Si fucking. They have mission indicators, but Si fucking is a star guest, and there are no restrictions. Still working so hard? Si fucking and Wei Chenjiun said hello and went straight to Qin Yuzong's office. Qin Yuzong was already waiting. Si fucking folded his hands together, I'm sorry, I asked Mr. Qin to wait for me. It's okay, I came early. Qin Yuzong didn't mind, you sit, this one. This is my assistant. Si fucking said, I need her help during the treatment. To be honest, I'm very nervous. Qin Yuzong exhaled slowly, if it can really. He dared not think further. Because it's really amazing. Teacher Qin, relax. Si fucking reassured him, it's like a dream. Qin Yuchen's nerves were still tense, but Yuejian hypnotized him. Little junior sister, if you feel any discomfort, you must tell me. Yumi was still worried, I'm afraid that with your current physical strength, you won't be able to withstand my evolver ability. Even if there is no copying process, sequelae will follow. Okay. Si fucking closed his eyes, third senior sister, wait for me outside and help me take care of the hospital. Yumi nodded and left the ward. Si fucking started treatment. Qin Yuzong only felt that he was sitting on a long dream. He woke up abruptly when the sound of his fingers fell in his ear. He opened his eyes and looked at his boss with concern, Mr. Qin, are you awake? I. Qin Yuzong raised his hand, trying to support his head. But the moment he raised his hand, he was shocked. He's a doctor and couldn't be more sensitive to his own hands. His hand. Qin Yuzong shook hands and opened it again. Very stable. Steady than before. Qin Yuchen stared blankly at his hand. Was his hand really healed? Mr. Qin, the treatment went well. Si fucking rubbed his temples, I didn't lie to you, it's just a matter of getting some sleep. I didn't believe it when Mr. Cai told me, I didn't expect it to be so magical. Qin Yuzong took a deep breath, raised his head, and his voice trembled, are you a ghost doctor? Miss Si? Si fucking's eyes sharpened. She was silent for 2 seconds, raised her eyebrows and smiled. Smart, Teacher Chin. Log into the game and grow up. When you grow up, you can push it too. This chapter is too difficult to write. I have read a lot of information TVT, this is the reason why I don't want to write ancient sayings 2333. Happy 520. My scarf and Q's book friends circle put pictures of His Majesty's 18-year-old costume, everyone can be healthy. See you tomorrow. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 337. From the moment he decided to give Qin Yu a hand to recite, Si had no intention of concealing it. After all, she also understands how Cai Zhongnian blows her. Qin Yuzong was also considered half of Cai Zhongnian's disciples, so naturally he must have heard him rant about it. Qin Yuchen's breath suffocated, and his heart jumped wildly. Although he had guessed and confirmed it, the impact was far less than Si's own admission. Ghost Doctor. The divine doctor revered by everyone in Liberty Island not only appeared in front of him, but also healed his hand for him. Qin Yuchen couldn't calm down at all. Trouble Mr. Qin, keep it a secret. Si calm down, but you won't be able to hide what you're doing, so if someone asks, you can say this, Mr. Qin, you met someone on the road and stopped him. His way, he thought you were in the way, and healed your hand. Qin Yu recited. Is this what you made up? Isn't this kind of fake? I won't tell you. Qin Yuzong naturally knew the seriousness of the matter, and he frowned, but you. Si is 19 years old. On the first day that the interns came to Sijukan Hospital, they had already undergone a comprehensive physical examination. Bone age cannot be faked. But the level of medical skills she showed is far from something that can be learned in a few decades. Si smiled, Mr. Qin, this world is very big, and there are many unsolved mysteries. The Daxia Empire is already very big, and the Earth is even bigger, but astronomers have found that the Earth is just an insignificant planet in the Milky Way. The universe is boundless, and people are just tiny bits of dust in the vast universe. We can only see with our eyes and listen with our ears. Have you ever thought that there are things that we can't see and are around? Qin Yuchen was stunned for a moment, also. He was completely persuaded now. After all, he had experienced the fact that his hands recovered after a sleep. He can accept anything supernatural after that. Qin Yuzong decided to minor in theology. Si stood up, well, I'll go first. Before she could finish her sentence, she suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and her face instantly paled. This is blood. Qin Yuzong's expression changed greatly, are you all right? He studied cardiology. Si's vomiting of blood was obviously a serious injury to his heart and lungs. It's okay. Si took out a tissue and calmly wiped the blood from his lips. I need to rest for a while, Mr. Qin, your hand is fine, you can go to the operating table. Qin Yuzong became angry, you still think of me at this time? Come on, go to the ward, and I'll see what's going on with you. I'm also a doctor, so of course I know my physical condition. Si pushed open the door without giving Qin Yuzong time to reply, I'll go first. She disappeared so fast that Qin Yuzong couldn't catch up. Si got out of the hospital as quickly as possible, and found Yu Jian, who was monitoring the surroundings. She grabbed Yu Jian's arm and said in a deep voice, Senior sister, let's go. It's over, Yu Jian supported her, the power has not leaked out, and no other evolutionary has appeared, little junior sister. This time Si couldn't hold it anymore, even if she covered her mouth hard, she couldn't restrain the sweetness from rushing up in her throat. Blood gushed out like water, and his hands were all dyed red. Yu Jian was startled for the first time, little junior sister. It's okay. Si tapped a few acupuncture points on his body, his brain was already dizzy, but he still managed to retain his consciousness. Let's go first, It's not safe, here, hurry up. Yumi picked her up by the waist and quickly got into the car. This is her first time racing. The 50-minute journey took only 10 minutes. Soon he arrived at Uzian's villa in Shijukan. The car just stopped, the door has been pushed open. Needless to say, Uzian, even Feng San could smell the strong breath of blood. As soon as the two walked out, they saw Yuejian getting off the car with Sci-fi in his arms. The girl's complexion was close to pale, without a trace of blood, and there was even blood spilling from her lips. Uzian's expression also changed. His eyes sank suddenly, took the girl into his arms, and strode into the villa. Sci-fi finally closed his eyes and fell into a coma, still holding his suit in his hand. Feng San was also shocked, Miss Si. In his impression, Sci-fi can always be on his own. She had never seen her vulnerable like this. Even the last time she exhausted all her strength to save people from the sea tornado, she was not hurt so badly. What's going on here? Uzian didn't say much, he sat down cross-legged, put his hands on Sci-fi's back, and began to heal her. The so-called Chuan Gong in martial arts dramas actually has a source, but it is not so mysterious. However, the secret book of Chuan Gong has also been lost. Not many people will know. After a while, Sci-fi's lips gradually returned to blood. Uzian tried her wrist, her heartbeat was close to nothing. He restrained his emotions and said slowly, "Go to Nanzhou to pick up people." Feng San immediately ran out and started the airplane made by the Mo family. Within 2 hours, the Supreme Elder of the Divine Doctor Alliance was brought to Uzian. Without Uzian speaking, the Elder Taizhang immediately began to examine Sci-fi's body. After the inspection, Uzian raised her eyes, "How? Need these medicinal materials, and then take this girl." The Elder Taizhang hurriedly signed up the name of the medicine, and the medicine boy picked the medicine here. The medicine is ready, but the medicine cannot be fed at all. When Sci-fi was unconscious, his body still had its own defense mechanism. Yujian also turned around in a hurry. She is a spiritual evolutionist. If someone else is lying here today, she can directly invade the other party's brain and communicate with the other party using brain waves. But facing Sci-fi, there was nothing he could do. Although Xiao Shimei's current evolutionary ability is only B-level, she can't invade. Uzian didn't put down the medicine bowl. He was silent for 3 seconds, slowly raised his hand, and took a sip. Then leaned down, lip to lip, and crossed in little by little. Very soft, but his movements follow his own style, strong and sharp. He drank and fed. Until the whole bowl of medicine is fed. Yujian stayed in place for the first time. She didn't know how she got out, but she didn't think she was needed very much here. With a clear ding sound, Uzian put down the bowl. He wiped his lips and called the Elder Taizhang in again, "Will there be no sequelae?" It's hard to say. The Elder Taizhang wiped his sweat. If it hurts the heart, it depends on the girl's self-healing ability, but her self-healing ability is very strong, so Mr. Yu doesn't need to worry too much. Uzian tapped off the table with her fingers, and instructed Feng San lightly, "Go to the Evolutionary Alliance and bring everyone who is useful." Sci-fi slept for a long time. Also had a long dream. As an onmyoji and doctor, she can control herself not to dream. Dreams reflect reality and can easily expose her weaknesses. As long as she dreams, she will see the night turn the tide. This time is no exception. It was still the vortex that swallowed the night, and she couldn't even catch it. Elder sister. But at this moment, the darkness dissipated, and she saw another face. He stretched out his hand towards her and said calmly, "I'll take you home." Sci-fi abruptly opened his eyes, sweat on his forehead. A voice fell, "Wake up." Dreams and reality overlapped for a moment, and Sci-fi couldn't tell whether she was still dreaming or not. She reached out and poked his face, and the man's eyebrows became clearer. Oops. It is true. Si fucking took a few breaths slowly before calming down. Her voice was hoarse after waking up. Boss, how long have I slept? Uzion looked down at her and said in a light voice, 3 days. That's okay. Si fucking held his head, it's shorter than I expected. Replicating this evolutionary ability sounds very outrageous, but there are many limitations. Unable to copy evolutionary abilities higher than your own. The sequelae of her this time are indeed not light. Si fucking lowered his head. Boss, trouble you again, I will work hard. Trouble? It's trouble. Uzion looked calm. When can you take care of your body first? You don't need to tell me that you are a doctor and know your physical condition. Si fucking was blocked. She had to obediently admit her mistake. I'm sorry. Sorry for me. Uzion closed her eyes. I really don't know what you are thinking. You should rest first, think about it and then tell me. He got up and was about to go out, but the corner of his clothes was pulled. She dragged him and looked at him with those misty fox eyes. Boss, can you teach me? Uzion sighed. Rest, I'm not angry. This anger will never come out. He sat down again. Why treat his hand? Because by curing his hand, he can save more lives. Si fucking took a sip. It's worth it. Uzion looked at her and sighed again. It's still early, sleep a little longer. Si fucking's recovery ability is indeed very strong, and he was able to jump around the next day. She went on to film the show. You're not in good health, don't be a hero. Sang Yanking couldn't persuade him. You don't know, you really scared us enough this time. I'm not a hero, there are no heroes in Daxia. Si fucking said lightly, some are just ordinary people who come forward all the time. Sang Yanking was stunned. Who did you listen to? Si fucking blinked. Listen to what Marshal Zhang said. He was actually quite handsome when he was young. He was not as rough as depicted in the history books. He was Uncle Meishui. No wonder everyone wanted to marry the Zhang family. But the war was raging at that time, and none of the 9 sons of the Zhang family were married. The youngest 9th son was only 15 years old when he died in battle. The future is far better than his father, but unfortunately there is no future. This is the cruelty of history. Before Sang Yanking could react, Si fucking had put on a white coat and entered the practice room. After more than 10 seconds, Sang Yanking finally remembered it. Marshal Zhang. Zhang Haiping, the marshal of the township. However, her family's artists like history so much, she can indeed pick up another variety show of Director Qin for her. Si fucking took 3 days off, so naturally he couldn't hide it from the show crew. Director Qin was very nervous. Your agent said that you suddenly fell into a coma with hypoglycemia, are you alright? His life can be said to be saved by Si fucking. When the sea tornado broke out last year, he thought he was dead, but Si fu saved everyone. It's done. Si fucking gave him a special jump twice. I'm making you worry. That's good, that's good. Director Qin breathed a sigh of relief. You're not here, I'm boring in this variety show, and only this Lu Xingheng can bring a few laughs. Si fucking lost his expression. Director Qin, do you mean that I am the laughing point of walking? It's more than that. Director Qin praised vigorously. You are still the king of stocks. You are still a great god. You don't know how badly those interns have been scolded these days. Si fucking didn't listen to his nonsense and went to the practice room. As soon as she entered, everyone looked over. A few minutes later, Qin Yu recited in. You guys don't need to practice today, there is an international seminar. Qin Yuzong came over, Wei Chenjian, Lu Xingheng, 2 returnee postdoctoral fellows, and Si fucking, come with me to attend the international seminar. A few people go out. Chen Wengzhen was a little unbelievable. Mr. Qin is crazy, why did you choose Si fucking? Si fucking is a star, and he hasn't participated in variety shows for 3 days. By Jinxie bit her lip, she has privileges, and it's not the first day we know about it. Wu Weining pursed her lips. If it's so unfair, how can the show be filmed? Today's international symposium is crucial, divided into theory and practice. The doctor from the Western continent came to do an interview, and invited Qin Yuzong and several other chief physicians to attend. Yu Chen, don't blame me for speaking badly on the side, another chief physician said. Actually, you don't need to come today, you can be off stage in a while. Qin Yuzong's hand had been destroyed long ago. How could he still be allowed to go to such a crucial occasion? Isn't that sending your face to the front of the West continent to fight? A little stuck, it's too late. Suddenly remembering that the old man was still in a relationship, he politely asked Emperor Ying before he finally kissed someone. Although His Majesty was the most difficult of all to chase his wife, he secretly scored a point. 521, I finally kissed, to celebrate Ching Ching and His Majesty for a monthly ticket for Bo Tian Tian. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 338. Qin Yuzong glanced at him, not angry, but lightly. We'll talk about it later. The chief physician sneered and said nothing. Afterwards, Lu Xingheng glanced at Sci-fi. Have you been on leave for the past few days? Your heart is damaged. Sci-fi raised his eyebrows. The eyes are poisonous enough. It is worthy of being cultivated by the Lu family of Liberty Continent. In fact, the sequelae this time were more serious than she expected. I thought it was just a coma, but I never thought that the impact on the heart and lungs was higher than the brain. But also worth it? The only thing she didn't expect was that she vomited so much blood that it scared Yu Jian. Yu Jian sent her directly to Yu Xian's residence, which was directly exposed. Sci sighed. She had to figure out a way to appease her boss well. Lu Xingheng frowned, and looked her up and down again. Your heart is damaged and not affected by external forces. It is an internal imbalance. So serious, you are not dead yet. Sci put his hands in his pockets, and the fox eyes narrowed slightly. How do you talk? You want to fight? Sorry. Lu Xingheng raised his hand. Occupational disease, excuse me. It's no wonder you're so old that you don't have a match. Sci said lightly. It's a pity that a good person has a mouth. Lu Xingheng. He decided to shut up. The five followed Qin Yuzong all the way to the hall inside the hospital. There were already quite a few people sitting in the hall, and there were reporters, media, and a group of doctors who came from the Western continent to communicate. The reason why Daxia declined is also because of the impact of modern civilization and the loss of ancient technology. In terms of modern medicine, the Western continent is indeed higher than the Great Xia Empire. But these years, Daxia has been catching up, and it is impossible to be underestimated. The exchange this time is very important and cannot be compared by the Western continent. The media was present today, and a live broadcast was specially launched. However, because medicine is too professional, not many people watch the live broadcast. Communication is divided into clinical and scientific research. Cai Zhonian, as the team leader, is arranging candidates. Then for the surgery side, let's dash. Let me come. Qin Yuzong took the initiative to stand up. Elder Cai, the patient is hypertensive and has arteriosclerosis. I am here just in time. Cai Zhonian had a meal. The other doctors were also stunned. Dr. Qin, have you forgotten that your hand cannot operate? The chief physician who spoke before said directly in front of the public. Your hand looks normal, but it doesn't have the precision it had before. If it deviates by an inch during the operation, the patient's life is in your hands. As soon as the sentence fell, the reporters talked a lot. There was a lot of trouble with the medical incident, especially when the prisoner had a second trial a while ago, and the verdict has not yet been finalized, so many people are paying attention to this case. Everyone is regretting the loss of a top doctor in cardiology in the Great Xia Empire. Cai Zhonian frowned. Yu Chan, you. Elder Cai, trust me. Qin Yuzhang bowed. You know, I'm not someone who cares about the big. Cai Zhonian fell silent, and after a few seconds, he still said, okay, you go. Qin Yuzhang changed into a white coat and went to the operating room. The netizens who watched the live broadcast also knew clearly about Qin Yu's recitation, and they were all surprised to see that the operation was performed by him. Although I believe in Dr. Qin's medical skills, his hand really can't be operated again, he can't risk the patient's life. And this is an exchange with the Western continent. If we lose a little, I don't know how they will mock us when they go back. What the hell is Dr. Qin doing? Don't be irrational if your hands are ruined. The Western continent sent a male doctor in his 40s, and the two walked into their respective wards together. The rest of the doctors discussed. Cai Zhonian was a little absent-minded. He was very worried about Qin Yuzhang. However, he did two things with one heart, and still solved the sharp problem raised by the Western continent. The exchange lasted for 2 hours, and the end of the operation was getting closer and closer, and many people's palms were already sweating. Until the last few minutes, Cai Zhonian couldn't sit still, and the door of the synagogue was slammed open at this moment. The patient's operation went well. A nurse ran in. Everyone, and Mr. Cai, Dr. Qin, and Qin's hands are healed. At the end, she was so excited that she burst into tears. Cai Zhonian suddenly got up and lost his temper for the first time. What? Neuron cells cannot be regenerated, and they are dead when they die. If anyone can regenerate neuron cells, the international medical community will hold this person up. The media were also shocked, not to mention the netizens who watched the live broadcast. Just when the entire hall was dead silent, Qin Yu recited. He was still wearing a white coat and walked onto the stage. Thank you for your concern for me in the past 2 years. Qin Yuzhang looked at the camera, took a deep breath, and smiled. My hands are healed, and I can stand on the operating table again. But I don't want to see everyone in the hospital. Recently, I have been popularizing cardiovascular diseases on Weibo. I would like to remind everyone here that everyone must pay attention to their health, stay up late, and don't overeat. In the past 2 years, Qin Yuzhang was resting for half a year, and for the remaining 1.5 years, he still insisted on attending the consultation in the first hospital of Sijukan. He also instructs other doctors to perform surgeries. Qin Yuzhang has seen too many patients die just after being sent to the hospital before surgery. Acute myocardial infarction. These patients were surprisingly young, and Qin Yuzhang was heartbroken and helpless. Doctors in the Western continent didn't know him very well. When he was popularized about Qin Yuzhang's previous achievements, he was in awe. Yes, someone saved me. Qin Yuzhang wiped her tears. She said that if she cured my hand, I could save more people and save more lives. She is a good doctor. Hearing this, Lu Xingheng narrowed his eyes slightly, and while applauding, turned his head to look at Sci-fi. Sci-fi looked at him with no emotion. In the end, Lu Xingheng was defeated and looked away. Cai Zhonian was also very excited. For a while, he burst into tears and could not speak. Qin Yuzhang was still speaking, and more people poured into the live broadcast room. God has eyes. My God, Dr. Qin's hand is actually healed. What God has eyes? Didn't you hear Dr. Qin say that another doctor saved him? Thanks to this doctor. Dr. Qin's medical skills are already superb. It can be said that he is a god in domestic cardiovascular medicine. How strong is Dr. Qin's hand? Very good, Dr. Qin is a good man and has a good reward, and then I will wait for the prisoner to be convicted. Wait, who is the genius doctor? How could Dr. Qin only speak half of what he said? No one paid more attention to today's exchange meeting, and their attention was focused on Qin Yuzhang's hands. Not only the hot searches on major social platforms have exploded, but the international medical community is also destined to be a shocking day. Qin Yuzong's hand can be cured. Isn't there a technology to regenerate neuron cells? The medical team in the Western continent also realized this, and directly stayed at the first hospital of Sijukan and did not leave. For them, the important thing is not that Qin Yuzhang's hand has recovered, but the miracle doctor who cured Qin Yuzhang. Qin Yuzhang suddenly became a fragrant pastry, and everyone wanted to ask who the genius doctor he was talking about. Cai Zhonian came back to his senses and took him out of the arena in time to break free from the siege of the media. Back at the office, Cai Zhonian couldn't wait to speak. Yu Chan, how good is your hand? How did you meet that genius doctor? Quick, tell me without a word. Qin Yu recited for a few seconds, and honestly repeated what I fucking taught him. I came home from get off work that day, and met a person who thought I was blocking his way, and then took my hand. All right. After speaking, he felt a sense of social death. Would anyone believe this? Unexpectedly, Cai Zhonian was thinking seriously after listening. It's the style of the senior. I heard that he saved people once because he was blocked. Qin Yu recited. How dare I fucking choose patients like this before? Okay, Cai Zhonian took a deep breath. Yu Chan, I just told you about the ghost hand and heavenly doctor you just met. You are very lucky. Where did the senior go, do you still know? Before Qin Yuzong could answer, he had already answered. You must not know that the senior has come and gone without a trace. No wonder there is the word ghost in the name, and I can't find it. Qin Yuzong fell silent, and finally could only say Great, once your hands are good, you can definitely go to Liberty Island for further study. Cai Zhonian said, I'll contact the relevant people now. Qin Yuzong watched Cai Zhonian run out excitedly like a child, and wiped his sweat. On the other side, Si Fucking and Lu Xingheng had returned to the practice room. Today is the last day of a week of internships. The judges will combine all the scores and eliminate 4 interns. Interns are nervous. Just as the interns were checking the case, the alarm went off, and the doctors and nurses ran over immediately. Chen Wengzhen glanced at the phone, his expression changed greatly, and he stood up. Si Fucking heard it naturally, her eyes narrowed slightly. Which patient has an accident? Chen Wengzhen was in a hurry and said coldly, what are you asking? What's the use of telling you? Tell you that you can have surgery? Be your big star. He ran out. It should be a patient from the hepatobiliary and pancreatic surgery. Wei Chenjiun got up and frowned. It is estimated that an operation is going to be performed. This level of operation is not something we can intervene. Si Fucking nodded slightly. I'll go out and have a look. She went out and just walked to the elevator entrance, and met the director, who also took the elevator. Si Fucking asked, what happened? It really happened. The director was also sweating profusely. A patient's condition suddenly deteriorated and his life was dying. Si Fucking narrowed his eyes. It's okay, I'm here, I can help. The director was stunned and said subconsciously, this is the patient who replaced you. Si Fucking didn't even pause in his footsteps. 1 yard is 1 yard, things are different. In the ward, the old man has fallen into a severe coma, and the hospital issued an emergency notice of critical illness. The woman panicked too. She originally thought that her father was just a minor illness, but she didn't expect that it would suddenly deteriorate to the point where she had to undergo surgery. And it happened that the best chief physician of the hepatobiliary and pancreatic surgery was on a business trip, and there was no one in the number 1 hospital of Sijukan. After Si Fucking was replaced, Chen Wengzhen took over. But he was even more helpless. It is true that he has been studying medicine for 8 years. But in the profession of a doctor, learning a postdoc is just the starting point. For the first time, Chen Wengzhen discovered that the death of a patient was so close to him. How to do? Until a nurse shouted out in surprise, Dr. Lin. Dr. Lin is back. Dr. Lin, the attending physician saw the savior and breathed a sigh of relief. Dr. Lin, you are finally back. Lin Qingchen is known as the #1 brain genius in the Great Xia Empire. Neurosurgery is also known as neurosurgery, but he also has in-depth research on diseases of the liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. It is said that he is still minoring in Chinese medicine. He is only 25 years old this year and has a bright future. With Lin Qingchen around, today's operation is not a problem. Lin Qingchen nodded and patted Chen Wengzhen on the shoulder. Don't be afraid, when you can complete the operation independently in the future, you will see more patients who will make you helpless. First of all, you must have a strong heart, and come in later. Watch the surgery and learn more. Chen Wengzhen was so terrified that cold sweat soaked his clothes, and he showed a smile that was uglier than crying. Thank you, Brother Lin, I know. Nurses quickly pushed the patient into the ward. Lin Qingchen also changed into medical clothes. But suddenly stopped, he was stunned for a moment, his eyes widened, as if a little incredible. The deputy chief physician stopped. Dr. Lin? What happened? Chen Wengzhen's heart also mentioned his throat. Is the patient completely helpless? You're wrong. Lin Qingchen turned around and smiled helplessly. Miss Si is here, why do you want me to come all the way? Hepatobiliary and pancreatic surgery is not my strong point, it's not in front of her. Are you ugly? There is a song called The King's Landing by Li Changqiao, which is very suitable for your majesty. The recent code word background music, I recommend it. See you tomorrow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 339. The profession of a doctor also requires talent, and hard work is equally important. Of course, Lin Qingchen knew how advanced Sci-fi's medical skills were, and he must have put in several times or even dozens of times the efforts of ordinary people. When a genius is still harder than ordinary people, her achievement is inevitable. Lin Qingchen heard that Cai Zhongnian mentioned that Sci-fi wanted to record a variety show at the #1 hospital of Sijukan, but he didn't expect to meet him as soon as he came back. As soon as he said these words, let alone the attending physician, the other nurses, women and Chen Wengzhen were all stunned. Chen Wengzhen's ears were buzzing, and he could hardly believe what he heard. Who is Lin Qingchen? The first brain genius, Cai Zhongnian's close disciple, the youngest chief physician. Lin Qingchen's future is immeasurable. He's mild-mannered and approachable, but I've never seen him praise anyone in a self-deprecating way. Sci-fi was the first. The woman is also confused. She asked the hospital to replace Sci-fi because she was afraid that the hospital would hand over the patient to a celebrity, which would be irresponsible. Lin Qingchen's name was known to everyone in Sijukan, and women were no exception. But she didn't expect that a genius such as Lin Qingchen would actually say that he was an idiot in front of Sci-fi. With Miss Si here, the operation can be assured. Lin Qingchen said, Ms. Zhao, if it's just me, the probability of the operation being successful is 70%, but Miss Si can complete the remaining 30%. Even Cai Zhongnian has a 90% chance of successful surgery at most. No matter how experienced a doctor is, they would not dare to say that they are 100% sure. But Sci-fi can. The attending physician obviously hadn't regained his senses, and his voice was erratic. Oh, it's all according to Dr. Lin's orders. Lin Qingchen went first to stabilize the patient's condition. Sci-fi changed into the surgical gown and walked into the operating room. Chen Wengzhen stood beside him, his limbs still paralyzed. His brain was foggy, looking at the girl standing in front of the operating table. he still couldn't understand how Lin Qingchen would give Sci-fucking an operation of this level. But what happened next shocked his mind again and again, and even his eardrums shuddered. Sci-fucking's hand was very steady, she said, vascular clamp. Chen Wengzhen stabilized his mind, and immediately found a vascular clamp and handed it over. Surgical forceps. Tissue forceps. Attract heads. Every time Sci-fucking said one, Chen Wengzhen could find it accurately and hand it over. The tense atmosphere gradually subsided. The operating room was quiet, only breathing and heartbeats could be heard. The attending physician breathed a sigh of relief. He was worried at first, but after seeing that Sci-fucking's movements were very neat, and that he found the location of the tumor with great precision, and removed it, he was completely relieved. This surgical crisis is completely over. After Sci-fucking sutured the wound, he raised his head. I have made progress, but I haven't learned in vain these days. Chen Wengzhen's hands and feet were still cold. Only he knows what kind of war between heaven and man in his heart. Sci-fucking completed an operation independently. Or in the case that several doctors in the hepatobiliary and pancreatic surgery are helpless. She is only 19 years old this year. He was still taunting her before that she couldn't even identify the surgical tools. But her job is to be a star. Chen Wengzhen's thoughts became a mess. Okay, go back and continue your internship. Lin Qingchen patted Chen Wengzhen on the shoulder again. You're doing well, I'll talk to your leading teacher. Chen Wengzhen didn't dare to look at Sci-fucking, he bowed and quickly returned to the practice room. His face was still pale, and the cold sweat kept flowing. Classmate Chen, what's wrong with you? Bai Jingxi said softly, did something happen to the patient in your charge? Chen Wengzhen glanced at her, rarely did not answer, and moved a seat away. Bai Jingxi frowned and said tentatively again, classmate Chen. She had a bad feeling in her heart. What happened to Chen Wengzhen? Wu Weining sneered, you don't know, not long after you went out, the big star also went out. I don't know what Sci-fucking did when he ran out. Wu Weining snorted lightly. 10 minutes later. The door opened and Sci-fucking came in. Chen Wengzhen stood up abruptly, he walked quickly to Sci-fucking and lowered his head. Yes, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that to you just now. Huh? Sci-fucking raised his head, what did you say about me? Chen Wengzhen was stunned for a while, with a look of joy on his face, he repeatedly thank you. This scene surprised several other interns. They also all knew that Chen Wengzhen and Wu Weining offered to adjust the group before the show started recording. After the filming of the show started, the two also disagreed with Sci-fucking. Why in the blink of an eye, Chen Wengzhen turned 360 degrees to Sci-fucking's senses. Wu Weining frowned, what are you doing? I didn't expect her to be so generous and didn't care about the ridicule I made to her before. Chen Wengzhen breathed a sigh of relief, Wan Ying, she's actually very powerful, she just... Wu Weining interrupted him, don't say it, I don't want to hear anything about her, don't pull me in what you want to do. Sci-fucking's remuneration in the entertainment industry is enough to stimulate outstanding elites in other industries. When they came to participate in variety shows, they had to work hard to get offers. Sci-fucking didn't have to do anything, and they could still be paid tens of millions of dollars. Wu Weining's disgust with Sci-fucking has reached a certain point. Bai Jingxi's eyes were dark. Sci-fucking is really amazing. He calmly regained a top student from Xia University. Lu Xingheng wrapped his arms around his arms, you're quite reckless. Then you tell me what kind of hatred I have with him. Sci-fucking raised his eyebrows, he verbally begged me for a few words. I lost a hair? Besides, he is really serious about studying medicine. Lu Xingheng looked at her thick hair. It's amazing that a medical student doesn't lose his hair. Sci-fucking said lightly, I have revenge, but because of a few words, I hold grudges, narrow-minded, and tired enough to live. Lu Xingheng thought thoughtfully, I have been taught. But I suggest you don't grow your mouth sometimes. I fucking smiled, because I'll break your legs. Lu Xingheng. It's okay not to hold grudges because of a few words. Okay, he shut up. The birth of a staff was recorded for nearly 2 weeks, and the program team also released some tidbits on Weibo. Study medicine is too hard, and the intern even works overtime until 2 in the morning. Although, I have absolutely no idea what the significance of SI-fucking's participation in this show is. The meaning is to let netizens see the wealth gap between medical students and big stars, which is really ironic. Even a doctor of Qin Yuzhang's level doesn't get more than 1 day's salary a year. Then SI-fucking when will the stars and doctors change their salaries? As early as last year, the income of stars has begun to cause dissatisfaction among the masses. Especially those stars who have little ability, but can get hundreds of millions of dollars in salary. There are a lot of comments like this on the Weibo of the birth of a staff, but there are also black fans and opponents who are fishing in troubled waters wearing vests. Sang Yanking asked people to deal with these IP addresses. She glanced at an unpretentious female star. I also want to ask, where is your salary? Part of it was fed to the dog, part of it was handed over to the boss, and part of it was donated. SI-fucking side. I bought a down jacket today, and I only have 18 yuan left. Why am I so poor? Sang Yanking was startled by this number. Don't you leave some for yourself? Isn't the show crew all-inclusive? Si-fucking said lazily. Sister Sang, don't say, the hospital food is really good and cheap, you can eat 2 meat and 2 vegetarians for 10 yuan, and Mr. Cai specially gave me 1 meal card, said I can go there to eat later. Sang Yanking was very convinced. This weekend, you are going to open for business. Looking for the Lonely will be screened in Xiaodao, and you should also attend. February 4th is the new year, and after the screening of Looking for Orphans, it will be released nationwide. Sang Yanking sighed, I hope the popularity of this movie can help the Li family find their children. Si-fucking squinted, the movie is useless, you need to find a professional. She was waiting for Ji Xingzi and Mr. Ji to come to Sijukan. 10 minutes later, the nanny car stopped in front of the villa. Because he was too poor, Si-fucking quit the hotel and successfully applied for a room in Yuzian's villa. Sister Sang, my boss is good and takes me in. Si-fucking invited, would you like to stay and have a meal together? No need. Sang Yanking refused. After a 2-second pause, she politely said, Ching ching, let's have some snacks. Otherwise, I don't know how it was eaten and wiped clean. The kitchen has already prepared meals, and the canyoning guards the entrance of the kitchen, and it is strictly forbidden for Si-fu to enter. She had no choice but to bring the 2 boxes of tea she bought to the study. Yuzian was writing. Si-fu tilted his head to take a look. The above are still familiar 8 words. How can you say that you have no clothes, and you share the same robe with your son? Si-fucking put down the tea and made a cup. Boss, are you still angry? I'm angry. Yuzian raised her head. Have you considered the consequences of doing these things? If your assistant is a few minutes late, you might. He paused and said nothing more. But the raised eyebrows showed that he was really in a bad mood. I have considered it. Si-fucking's expression gradually picked up. It is because I have considered it that I choose to do it. Oh, Yuzian put down the brush. Tell me. Boss, you are an unprofessional fan. Si-fucking calmly said, I'm taking history as a mirror. Recently, I was watching The Legend of Marshal Zhenqiu, and Zhang Jiajin took the initiative to ask Yang to guard the borderlands. Don't they really have none? Have you considered the consequences? Where is the frontier? At the border, war is raging, where barbarians gather. People are dying every day. But Zhang Haiping still went, and it took 5 years to go, and he could not return to Yongan until his death. Of course, this is only one of them. Si-fucking raised his head. The second is of course that I believe in you, boss, and I'm quite at ease with you, boss, you are wise and powerful. Yu Xian's eyes suddenly deepened, and her tone was cold. It's quite good at coaxing people. I fucking pondered. She didn't seem to be coaxing people, she just felt it and told the truth. But it doesn't matter. I fucking offered a cup of tea very intimately. Then boss, have you been coaxed? Yu Xian was silent for a moment, then sighed helplessly. Okay. I fucking suddenly felt that her boss was very coaxing. If it was someone else, let alone coax her, she would have already served her with her fists. I saved a person yesterday. I fucking held his chin. By the way, I have trained a good doctor in the future. Yu Xian gave her a deep look. You are amazing. He picked up the pen again, wrote the last sentence of the poem, and rubbed her head flatly. Let's go down to dinner. The day after Qin Yu Chan Shao was cured, he resumed his visits. There was an endless stream of patients who came to see him for surgery. After successfully completing 10 surgeries, everyone confirmed that his hand was really healed. The doctor delegation from the Western continent was still stuck in Sichuan and did not leave. When they dig 3 feet into the ground, they must also find the genius doctor who cured Qin Yuzong. Netizens are also discussing who this genius doctor is. The news was broadcast every day, and even a wealthy disciple like Yu Yao who no longer cared about Weibo news knew about Qin Yuzong's recovery. He immediately went to the door of the first hospital of Sichuan. Dr. Qin, I'm Yu Yao. Yu Yao's posture was very low. I would like to ask you to contact this genius doctor. I have a sister who is frail and sick. I hope she can recover to a healthy body. He recounted Ji Qinggui's condition. Qin Yuzong had heard people talk about the second young lady of the Ji family. I heard that he is frail and sickly, but he is very talented, and the professors of Xia University are all vying for it. It's just that all the doctors were helpless about her illness, and Cai Zhongnian was also invited to see her, but there was still no way. Qin Yu was a little embarrassed. But as a doctor, of course he couldn't watch the patient in pain, so he still responded, okay, but it may not be possible to find it. Because I don't know where she is. Yu Yao nodded. How could such a kind doctor give Ji Qinggui a chance to treat him in order to let Qin Yuzong save more people? Good morning. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 340. Although Ji Qinggui's illness and Qin Yuzong's hand injury were not in the same field at all, being able to repair Qin Yuzong's hands was indeed the level of a top genius doctor. Even if it doesn't reach the height of the ghost hand and heavenly doctor, it's not much different. But Yu Yao also knew that a genius doctor of this level could not be found by just looking for it. Then don't bother for now. Yu Yao bowed again. If you can meet again, please contact me with Dr. Qin. Qin Yu nodded in recitation. Yu Yao left the first hospital of Sichuan and called Ji Longta. Uncle Ji, Dr. Qin doesn't know where the genius doctor went, so he can only try to contact him, but I have a hunch that someone else must be there. Still in 49 cities. You can release news in the circle and describe Qinggui's illness truthfully. This genius doctor is very kind and will definitely treat Qinggui. Ji Longta responded one by one. I'm really bothering you. Uncle Ji is very polite. Yu Yao smiled. If I hadn't been clean, I might have lost my life long ago, and I should have taken care of her. This is the time he is closest to curing Ji Qinggui, and he must not give up. Here, Qin Yuzong packed up the cases and went to the practice room. The first round of internships has ended, and the last few interns have also been eliminated. Fucking has been very leisurely these 2 days. Grupa was supported by Lu Xingheng and Wei Chenjian, and she took Ning Ji to lie down very comfortably. The other interns were out, and she was alone. Qin Yuzong entered the door now. He looked around and lowered his voice. Senior, I have something I want to ask you for advice. Fucking looked at his solemn expression and paused. Let's discuss, don't call me senior. Chin Yu recited and agreed, okay, genius doctor. Si fucking. That's why she didn't want Cai Zhonian to know. She really couldn't stand Cai Zhonian standing in front of her with a senior on the left and a senior on the right. Mr. Chin, in terms of age, I'm really younger than you, Si fucking euphemistically said. How you treated me before, treat me now. Qin Yuzong pursed his lips and suddenly laughed. Student Si, although you are young, you have a very clear temperament. It is not too much for me to call you senior. How many people have an attitude when they are at the end of the day, and another attitude when they rise up? The original intention is too difficult to maintain. Si fucking was silent for a while, but just smiled. It all comes at a price. That's right, someone came to me just now. Qin Yuzong recounted Yu Yao's purpose. I also heard that this Miss G's condition is very strange. I don't know what kind of disease she is suffering from. If you want to go take a look and I'll tell them. Before Si fucking could speak, Yu Jian sneered, what does she deserve? Qin Yu was taken aback for a moment. Si fucking unscrewed a bottle of Coke and said lightly, if you don't go, you won't be saved. Qin Yuzong already understood, okay, compared to an outsider who only has rumors, of course I believe you. He knew Si fucking's character, and she could say the word don't save, which shows that the G family is not a good thing. Qin Yuzong did not reply to Yu Yao again, as if he had never found it. He thanked Si Fu a few more times, and then went to prepare for the operation. People today are really whimsical, Yu Jian coldly said. With your luck, I want you to treat her. My second son and I didn't have such a big face when we were eating black. Si fucking put on his coat and said slowly, of course I will go, but not at this time. She touched the talisman paper on her chest. Understood, when you recover the luck on her body, I will rush over as soon as possible. Yu Jian moved her wrist, let her experience what it feels like to have a mental breakdown. She also cleaned up some of the vicious criminals in T18. Si fucking was about to leave when Chen Wengzhen sneaked over. She picked up her bag. What's the matter? Chen Wengzhen's eyes dodged, and he was also very ashamed. I have a few questions, I want to ask you. What's the problem? Si fucking didn't refuse. Ask, you can ask quickly. Chen Wengzhen hurriedly asked the questions he encountered during the daytime internship today. Si fucking also answered him one by one. Chen Wengzhen marked the main point, and was even more ashamed. Yes, I'm sorry, I shouldn't read those remarks on the internet. They don't know you at all. Oh, it's fine, I don't care. Si fucking raised his eyebrows, but there is one thing you must remember not to say in front of me. Chen Wengzhen became nervous. What? Follow the wind and say I'm a rich woman. Si fucking stretched out his hand, revealing a sleeve. Look, if my clothes are torn, I will sew them twice by myself. When Chen Wengzhen saw the embroidery on it, he praised dryly, KK, it's beautifully sewn. You dare to say that I am a rich woman in front of me, and mention something related to money. Si fucking put his hands in his pockets. I also broke your legs. Chen Wengzhen. He stiffened as he watched Si fucking leave, and it took him a long time to catch his breath. He clicked on Si fucking super words. Kaihua already has 5 million followers, and there are countless new posts every day. Chen Wengzhen thought for a while, clicked to follow, and went to the berth of a staff to use a trumpet to scold netizens who didn't know anything. Then pack up the cases and notebooks and go to the hospital cafeteria. On the road, he met Bai Jingxi and Wu Weining, and he just nodded hastily. Wu Weining frowned. I don't know what's going on with him recently. He circles around Si fucking every day, and wants to say good things about Si fucking here, but I don't want to hear it. Hearing this sentence, Bai Jingxi smiled lightly. How can you conquer a man? The entertainment industry is very messy, and there are many scenes with Si fucking. Wu Weining looked disgusted. There is only a face in the sky, it's just a daughter flower. How long can she be smooth sailing when her gold master doesn't want her anymore? Bai Jingxi's eyes flashed slightly. She had forgotten that Sci-Fi had a financial master. It is almost a default thing in the entertainment industry that Sci-Fi has the backing of the financial master, otherwise, with her rigid style, she would have been banned by Xuezhang long ago. But Sci-Fi is just going head to head with the stars of the entertainment industry. If you meet a real giant in Sijukan, your bones will be broken. Bai Jingxi had a care in her heart, and she smiled, "Miss Wu, let's go eat." Here, Sci-Fi returned to Yu Xian's villa. She looked around and said, "Hey, where's the boss? Why is he not here at this time?" "Oh, Feng San went outside with Brother Ju." Kenyan said. "Brother Ju said that he has been suffocating recently and is going to pay homage to the Buddha in the temple." Sci-Fi muttered, "It's true and false." Obviously she wasn't coaxed well, and she even lied to her. Black-hearted. Sci-Fi thought for a while, "What do you ninth brothers like?" Canyoning super loudly, "Ninth brother likes Miss Si, and we like Miss Si too." Sci-Fi Mau Mau was vigilant, "No, I'm not selling myself as an artist." "Miss Si, he won't be angry if you stand in front of Brother Ju." Canyon said righteously, "You look so beautiful and cute, who would be angry with you?" "Have vision." Sci-Fi nodded, "But you still have to give me this month's salary. I'm out of money, so I'm just waiting for your unexpected wealth." Canyoning. He regretted countless times why he had to shoot with Sci-Fi at that time. He could only take the takeaway order with tears in his eyes. Sci-Fi leaned on the sofa. The phone rang, and Ji Xingzi's news came in. "Ji Xingzi, brother, my old man and I will be arriving tomorrow, and we have brought you dozens of books. If you hadn't mentioned them, these books would probably have been taken to the corner of the table." Sci-Fi returned an okay. She sent a few more drawings to Ji Xingzi. "Yu Wu's formation blueprint is a precious treasure in the yin-yang 5 elements realm, and you can't even buy it." Ji Xingzi accepted it happily, and showed off, "Old man, look, this is asking me to follow the big brother and go straight to the sky. As the saying goes, this thigh must be hugged." Even if the Ji family is gone, the eldest brother said that as long as she has a bite to eat, give me a broken bowl. These remarks made Mr. Ji angry, blowing his beard and staring, "Can you be serious? If you talk about you, you are also a single seedling. How long have I cultivated you? The Ji family's heavy responsibility rests on you, how can you have such a state of mind?" Ji Xingzi snorted slightly, "Do you care about me, old man? You left me in Dongsang when I was 6 years old and let me find a way to come back. If I grow up so big, you will burn high incense." Mr. Ji sneered, "What do you know? If you don't throw you to Dongsang, you will die at Ji's house." The disciples of the Ji family are not counted as in-laws and other relationships. They have been passed down for 1,000 years, and there are thousands of them. These giants in the 4-9 cities are just fighting each other in a few rooms. Not to mention a 1,000-year-old giant like the Ji family. Master Ji was able to go out this time on the pretext of looking at the dragon veins, otherwise the elders would not allow him to take half a step out of Dongzhou. "Okay, old man, don't get excited when you see my eldest brother tomorrow," Ji Xingzi said, "I'm afraid that when you get excited, you will just burp." "Stinky boy," Mr. Ji was furious, took off his shoes and chased after him, "If I don't beat you to death today, I won't be called Ji Buking." Ji Xingzi ran away in a hurry. The Ji family was in a state of turmoil again. At this time, Guanghua Temple. Feng San took the initiative to stay beside the car and did not follow. Before Yu Xian's legs recovered, no one could get close to him, and after he recovered, only Miss Si could bully him. Feng San is very relieved. The wheelchair moved forward automatically, and Yu Xian went around the road behind Guanghua Temple. Donor seeing him, the monk immediately became solemn, "I saw the donor again, I wonder why the donor came here specially this time. Yuzian propped her head up and looked up and down at the host cassock he was wearing. Promotion. It's a fluke. The monk folded his hands together. The donor doesn't know, and the poor monk also has a headache. After the host of Guanghua temple disappeared, the poor monk couldn't hold it alone. Yuzian said lightly, "You are being humble." The monk sighed deeply. "If I didn't understand mathematics when I was a child, how could I have been sent to the temple with my head shaved? Last time we met, you said that she chopped off her peach blossoms and exchanged them for money." Yuzian ignored him and said lightly, "I just came to ask if I have a relationship with her." "What about fate, and what about failure?" the monk asked back. "Could it be that if there is no fate, His Majesty will let go?" Yuzian's eyes suddenly shone, her fingers were sticking out like lightning, and she opened the fan. He raised his head, looked at the monk with deep eyes, smiled slightly, still the same expression of joy and anger, and his voice was very light. "What do you call me?" "Stop talking," the monk said with a bitter look on his face. "Donor, your luck is too strong," and the poor monk always thinks that this must be the fate of ancient emperors, so he said it when he thought about it in his heart. "Donor, please don't report on the poor monk. If someone from the Qinjun League says that the poor monk wants to rebel, the poor monk will have to go in." Yuzian's eyes were sharp, and the generals and monks looked at him again. After a few seconds, his eyes narrowed, and his tone was cold. "The following is a crime, full of nonsense. It is time to go in." The monk's face is more like a bitter gourd. "The incense of Guanghua temple will not be broken." Yuzian turned the wheelchair and left, "as long as you don't go into evil ways and don't help Joe to abuse." The monk smiled happily. "Don't worry, the poor monk is dedicated to worshipping Buddha, and other aspects are just parallel imports. I really want to help someone, I don't have that ability. The donor can rest assured. You can't do it, and others can't do it. The luck of the female donor is also extremely powerful. Others will only be crushed, not even peach blossoms." Yuzian's eyebrows moved slightly, but she didn't say anything. After returning to the car, Feng San saw that Yuzian's mood seemed to have improved a lot, so he cautiously said, "Ninth brother, Miss Si has returned and is waiting for you." Yuzian's eyelashes drooped. "Let's go, don't make you girls wait too long." Feng San breathed a sigh of relief and drove back to the villa. Canyoning went out to take out, and there was only Si fucking in the villa. As January 20th is getting closer and closer, there is also a lot of publicity for Dragon Crossing. Si fucking forwarded the new material promotion on Weibo. She does have a hot search physique, and she was on the hot search as soon as she forwarded it. Coincidentally, Tong Luyun also reposted the announcement of the Great Zhao Dynasty a few minutes ago. The two bumped into each other again, and they had a long history of grievances. Come on, compare the actual performance of the three golden actresses and a certain traffic star. It's a bit unsightly. Wait for the release of Demon Crossing the day after tomorrow. Everyone guesses that the ratings of During the Demon can be 1/10 of that of the Zhao Dynasty 1/10. If the ratings of Dragon Crossing can be a fraction of that of the Zhao Dynasty, I can only say that if it has no vision, and it is booked on the street. Trouble the traffic stars not to touch the porcelain. Our three golden actresses are not at the same level. Smile smile. See you tomorrow.